call to adventure, like the call to leave behind the everyday world, the common, ordinary world of family and social reality, and go in quest of something, not even quite sure what it is, but somehow motivated. This whole question of what starts somebody off, like the call to leave behind the everyday world, the common, ordinary world of family and social reality, and go in quest of something, not even quite sure what it is, but somehow motivated. Call to adventure, like the call to leave behind the everyday world, the common, ordinary world of family and social reality, and go in quest of something, not even quite sure what it is, but somehow motivated. This whole question of what starts somebody off, on the transformation quest, the process is a very interesting one.
What's up, guys? Still not used to streaming, but this will be the year. This will be the year I get used to it. This year we will get used to it. Okay? So let me see here. me see what y'all talk about. Shout out to everybody who's made it to the stream. Got a couple people in a couple places. Will live. I was finally able to figure out how to stream properly on YouTube. So for those who don't know, we're pretty much streaming everywhere. Let me see if I can touch up the views and do something else. Alright. We're streaming everywhere. Kick, Instagram, Twitch, TikTok, YouTube. Everywhere. Just to experiment and see how things go. But the point of the stream today is a new series that I'm going to be doing everywhere. Eventually... Well, first off, can you guys hear me? Make sure everything is good. No more technical mumbo jumbo going wrong. Everybody can hear me. Cameron, hi news subber. Shout out to you. Appreciate you. Appreciate everybody who subscribed to the channel, follow, and you want to make sure you do, because whether you are a aspiring creator or just someone curious about what happens behind the scenes, or you just a lover of shonen manga or just manga in general, I plan to have fun on these streams. They're not going to be too technical. They're going to be a little bit more relaxed. There is going to be structure to them. Excuse me. There's going to be some structure to them, and they will be educational overall. But the end goal here is for everybody to be part of the community building this cowboy, shonen, supernatural, whatever manga. I don't really know yet. You know, something that we'll be deciding as we go on. But that's the point of the stream. I'm going to see if we can be streaming. I want to do normally I want to do Mondays to Thursdays around this time. And we just kind of stream. Basically streaming every day for a couple hours. I'd say at least 2-3 hours. Say 2-3 hours. And we'll just be working on this manga from scratch. You guys will be able to learn in the process, but you're able to join me and just have fun. Basically be in the kitchen as we're cooking. You know, I got my chef hat on. You know what I'm saying? Again, just slowly waiting for more people to come up to the stream. Say, okay, we can lower the music if it's too high. Yeah, we can just even shut it off for now. Just to be clear, we're making a manga here. Nothing's off with Apple Black. Apple Black is still running. This is just something new, fresh, that you all will kind of be coming along with me as we cook and put this together. We're all in the kitchen now. I'm the main chef here, but overall, you know, we'll discuss. You know, you guys will be able to see me think of ideas, and maybe some of them will suck, and you guys will be able to tell me right there and then. You know, and maybe some perks for members of the channel and those who are on my Patreon. But for the most part, we're just going to be having fun here. And this idea for this cowboy manga, you can think of it like how One Piece has its pirates, Bleach has its sorcerers, Apple Black has sorcerers. Actually, Bleach has Shinigami, Death Gods, Soul Reapers. Jujutsu Kaisen's the one with the sorcerers. Apple Black is also sorcerers. Did it first. Just saying. Before anybody gets carried away. It's like, ooh, it reminds me of did it first. There are lots of things I've done first for so many years because I've been online for that long. And it's part reason why I put a lot of stuff online. So there's a timestamp. But either way, the point is, sorcerers, pirates, ninjas, you know, in Naruto, Boruto, whatever. I want to do something where it's cowboys and it'd be fun, dope, hype, close to perfection. You know, at least, well, in every sense, from a writing standpoint, art standpoint, and you guys are going to see me cook from start to finish, and hopefully it'll be engaging. You guys will be able to give some input, and we'll have thoughts, and we'll go back and forth about stuff, and coming up with power systems, name of the series, name of the title, the logo for the series, the everything, the main character, what are their goals, the villain, what is their goal, what makes it really feel real, what aspects of the story really click, what's the tension, what's the consequences and agencies that the character has towards the story, how do they push the story, how does the story push them, you know, every single facet of coming up with, honestly, any kind of story. We will kind of take a deep dive into that in the streams while also having fun, doing whatever stuff. You know, maybe we'll be silly from time to time. Who knows? You know, coming up with the jokes, coming up with the emotional gut-wrench punches within the story, all of that we're going to try and break down here. Even the idea of what a cowboy is, and it's something I've kind of been thinking about because I don't want it to just be fluff and just there for surface level stuff. Like, what does it mean to be a cowboy? I mentioned this in the last stream we did. In the last stream, y'all would have seen it if you're on YouTube. You didn't see it because there were some technical issues with YouTube that I had to figure out. That's why there was a different stream that is streamed for like 2 minutes or a minute or probably less than a minute, and I completely shut it down because I was finally able to get it to work. And so now that I've gotten it to work, now we can see how things go, get in the feel for all the places, see what I like, what I don't like, if it matters at all, if it doesn't matter, we're figuring that out. But again, what does it mean to be a cowboy? The same way, I tried to do, if you guys read Apple Black Volume 4, and honestly, all the volumes up until Volume 4, even Volume 1, it touched on it a little bit, but you see it as a subtle theme throughout Volume 1 to 4 about what it means to be a sorcerer too, and the contrasting philosophies between what Sano believes it is or should be and what Caesar believes it is. Naruto did something similar with Zabuza and the ninjas and Kakashi. Kakashi has his own view of what a ninja is and how the mission is important, but if you leave your comrades behind, you're scum, right? But then Zabuza is like, no, actually the mission is always the most important thing. We ninja are just tools. So those are the contrasting philosophies. So essentially, what does it mean to be a cowboy will be different for each character. There will be some characters where it aligns, and then there'll be some where it clashes. So stuff like that, I want to see if I can touch. And again, the new manga wouldn't be something that would prevent me from working on Apple Black. I'm actually still writing. I was having so much fun writing it. Actually, I'm kind of writing volume 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Like I'm almost writing all of the volumes at least right before. Like I already know what kind of happens, the skeleton of what's happening, right? I already had that written down. I had like a Google Doc that has most of this stuff. And so now I'm just kind of fleshing it out even more and more and more and more. So I've been fleshing out volume 6 to like right where the time skip happens, which now it's looking like it might be around volume 15, 16. And just fleshing it out, but obviously fleshing out volume 6 and 7 the most, right? Because those are two within the next arc of Apple Black. And the next arc, it's going to kind of be like 3.5 volumes. 3.5? Yes. 3.5 volumes. That's for the next arc, which is the tournament arc that we're in. Now, for those who've gotten the volumes, I highly appreciate it. Let me see if I can do some technical mumbo jumbo here to get it right. Yeah, there we go. So this is volume 5. Volume 5. Shout out to everybody who's gotten it, and appreciate all the reviews as well. It was funny because, well, let me slow down a bit. Because there might be some of you who've never heard of me, don't know what's going on. I am Adunze, aka Whyt Manga, known as Whyt Manga everywhere. Okay. Alright. Known as Whyt Manga everywhere, Twitter, everywhere, right? At Whyt Manga, and YouTube, Whyt Manga TV, but you get it. And so I'm a published creator, have books all over the world. Apple Black's actually been translated into Turkish, so that was interesting. So there's a Turkish version. I believe the name translated is called Kara Elma, and someone has a photo. In fact, the creator of Orisha sent me a photo of the books in stores in Turkey, and you can kind of see everything is in Turkish. So it's Kara Elma for Apple Black, and a couple other books were also translated into Turkish. That's Hammer, Titan King, Clock Striker, I believe, and Volume 2 has also been translated. So the translations is actually a completely different thing. It's like a different division within the distributor. So we don't always know when it's going to drop. Like I knew a translation for Turkey was going to happen, right? I knew it was happening, but then that's it. I don't know when it dropped. I don't know how it dropped. The funding really goes towards say the advances they were paid. Like it's a whole complicated thing, and we're not so privy, right? And then so there have been Czech translations for some book, Danish translations for some books, and now on the horizon, French and Japanese translations are also coming. So, co-founder of Saturday AM, we publish all these other books. You can go to saturday-am.com. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can open that up so you guys can visually see what your boy is talking about. There we go. Then we can come back. Yeah. So here we go. The Saturday AM website. We have our magazine similar to Shonen Jump. So if you're familiar with Shonen Jump or Kodansha magazines, we're kind of like that, but here in the West. Obviously, a lot of more differences and influences from Marvel and DC. It's not just Japan. But see our books, our trading cards coming soon. Watch out for a Kickstarter. If you like trading card games, collectible card games, trust me, this one is going to be really good. And the people who are spearheading that are also huge trading card game fans. But the books we publish are right here. Quarto is our distributing partners. We got Apple Black, Hammer. The list goes on. It's all the books you can find here. Saturday-am.com/graphic-now. You just go to the website. No, just go to the website. Saturday-am.com, and you can find the books. And let's say we click on. Say we click on Saturday Wars, which is all of our characters coming together for Infinity War type storyline, but it's all our characters fighting to save their individual universes. But here we see the books, and then you can see where you can pre-order it. Right here, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes and Noble, Walmart, Thrift Book, Goodreads. Obviously, is not where you can purchase, but it's like reviews or put it on some kind of list to read or something. But then you got Kindle if you're looking for ebooks. But there's more actually for, say, let's say I go to Apple Black Volume 1, because sometimes it just keeps getting added to stores. So you got Amazon, Books A Million, Books Depository, which I believe is gone. Walmart, Waterstones. So even in the UK, so the books are all over the place. I've gotten images, seen people with the books in Dubai, Israel, Ireland, South Africa, Nigeria. Most places in Europe, Canada, you name it, right? Colombia, you name it. So that's pretty cool. Shout out to everybody who's gotten any of our books. But that's who I am. I write and illustrate my own manga. Shout out to my manga assistants who came in clutch, especially for these two volumes. The deadline for both was steep, but we made it work, especially for volume 5, and we made it work. And so I really appreciate all the reviews that we've gotten. Shout out to everybody who leaving their thoughts on Goodreads or Amazon. Basically, from the feedback I've gotten, all the books, all the books have been enjoyed thoroughly. So it's mostly 5 stars and 4 stars for all of them, mostly 5 stars. And then each book has kind of been better than the last. And I was a little worried because volume 4 was really, really loved by the readers. And so it was tough, right? Because I want to make 5 better than 4. And it was just 4 benefited from the fact that it was kind of ending the initial arc, the first arc. So a lot of questions were going to be answered in really cool ways, and new questions would be asked, right? So a lot of cool stuff was happening in 4. It's tying up loose ends, recontextualizing a lot of things that already happened even in volume 1, especially towards the end of 4. So it was a very well received book. And so 5 was, how am I going to top that? It's the beginning of a new arc. But I did the best I could. And I think from the feedback, right, 5 just recently came out, so it doesn't have as many reviews as 4. But from the feedback, people have said it's the best one, especially when it comes to character development, which was something that was purposeful. That it was still like the best volume. So each volume is still getting improvements better than the last. So that was good to hear. In fact, somebody mentioned something about a specific chapter in volume 5 that in many ways the way I write and do things is slightly, obviously, it's very influenced by what I've seen and what I like from other shonen manga, but also from Western TV shows. HBO Watchmen, Westworld, at least season one, and a bunch of other shows. Even cartoons. X-Men, whatever the case may be, and movies as well. And I'm a big plot twist fan. But so there's always an element of experimentation within my chapters and my storytelling and my writing, or at least I try to. But especially two chapters in volume 5 that I was like, we're gonna see, right? I think it's cool, but hopefully you guys enjoy it. But funny enough, one of the people mentioned that was their favorite chapter. One of the two chapters was their favorite chapter in the whole book, which again, really appreciate it. It makes me feel like, okay, the experimentation paid off. You know what I'm saying? So we're cooking. For this cowboy manga, we're going to cook even more. I don't know how much experimentation, but we're going to cook even more. The goal for the streams, we'll try to be streaming every day, developing this story, developing the art, everything. At least up until the storyboards are done. And then, the storyboards are essentially the layout, the blueprint of how the pages are going to be put together. And so once that is done, I think there'll be like a little bit of a break. A little break from the streams, but the idea is not to do some full book just yet. Right now, we're focusing on maybe building the world, the power system, the characters, like what's gonna happen and what's the message, what's the point of this story, why should it exist, and why should people definitely read it? What about it is so relevant, especially to today? There'll be some it'll be shonen. But then there'll be some dark elements. By the way, you guys can leave questions if you have any on Twitch, YouTube, wherever you're watching this. You can leave questions. Eventually, I'll do like a little Q&A spree going everywhere to figure out what you guys are asking. But the goal would be to make a one-shot / chapter 1. For now, let's just say a one-shot. Yeah, let's just say a one-shot, right? And maybe if people really, really like it, then I'll know what I'm going to do with it afterwards, right? And that might be something where I rework the one shot to make it a full chapter 1 and then move forward with it. It depends. I'm not even thinking too much about it, about what to do with it. But you guys will also get to see maybe some editorial stuff, right? Let's say, invite people on to talk from an editorial standpoint about the decisions that we're making and why we're making them. So hopefully you guys are engaged with the streams. I'm open to ideas as well for what we can do on the streams to make it fun. But a lot of the elements that happen behind the scenes when it comes to making sequential art, I will try to showcase that on the stream, and we'll just have fun with it. That will be the goal here, right? Again, you guys can be leaving questions. So this would kind of be like a live Q&A at the same time, /podcast, y'all in the studio, /kitchen with me as we're cooking. You know what I mean? Somebody cooked here. Or at least somebody's going to. You know what I'm saying? On my Walter Whyt, y'all, the Jesse without the ending and the backstabby betrayal stuff. That's what we're going to do here. All right. Again, shout out to everybody who's gotten the books. I've enjoyed them. Volume 1 to 5 are currently available, as well as the light novel. Hold on. Give me a second. We got a light novel. Worked with Stephanie Williams to help with the prose. But we cooked here too. And then there's some images that you guys can... Yeah, some cool images in there too, like other light novels. For those who are familiar with light novels. Light novels have also been received well, so that's pretty good. Let me see. We go back to more of the cooking here. And so so now the point of all of this is to figure out this cowboy manga. This cowboy shonen manga. The cool thing is, I don't think there've been that many cowboy-esque manga, anime, anything like it. I'm sure there've been maybe some series that have elements of it, but not quite a full-on, like the same way Naruto kind of focuses on ninja. There's not that many, if any, series that, cowboy, right? Like Western. The influences I'm thinking off of my mind are like movies like True Grit, Good, Bad, Ugly. Let me see, freaking Westworld, but without the sci-fi stuff. But at least the story elements and how the storytelling techniques and how that's being crafted. That's always handy. Uh, yeah, stuff like that. There's Cowboy Bebop, but again, it's not exactly what I'm talking about, right? And obviously there've been samurais and all kinds of stuff, but I think Cowboys, there's some interesting stuff we can do. Django Unchained, there's definitely some elements we can touch on. And so I'm thinking about all of that. I'm thinking about what the power system would be, because then again, we're not gonna do. I don't want to. I thought about it, trying to do like a cowboy series that is realistic, but I don't want to do that. I want I want it to be be reminiscent of that 2010s Shonen Jump stuff, but with subtle elements of the new gen types manga that's a little bit more mature here and there. And that's kind of what I do. And then obviously with my own touch on it, like my own artistic narrative and visual voice to it. And we're going to be figuring that out. We're going to be doing a lot of research. So y'all can let me know in the chats, like, what do you think? What do you think it means to be a cowboy? That's, one of the things that I'm constantly thinking about. And just to give the story some oomph and make it feel rich, But again, for the questions, let me see. You should check out Priest. It was straight up Western manga, super amazing, and the artist is brilliant, Ming Woo Hyun. I believe Priest. I'm pretty sure there was a Priest movie, and I saw that, and I think the main character was Paul Bettany, who does Vision. So I've seen the movie, and I'm pretty sure the movie probably got like mid critical response, like reviews and things like that, and probably didn't make a boatload of money, because if it did, we'd probably gotten Priest 2. But I won't be surprised if that was a comic book and that's where we're talking about the same thing. So I will check out. You know what? Let's also start there. So for Westerns and, for it, like, I want to also see what's out there already. Not necessarily to just get influence and inspiration, but also to see what they've done so that I don't do the exact same thing. It's kind of like, it kind of goes hand in hand. So you guys can also leave recommendations of all of that. What you're seeing on the screen, though, right now for this illustration, this is the canvas on my Clip Studio Paint. This is an illustration I just did for a different novel. That's by Jackie A. I did the artwork on the cover and most of her books as well. So if you like sapphic, dark romance, love story with a lot of mythical, mind-bendy, story-bendy, great, pretty good. I know the story, so I'd recommend it as well. So if you like that kind of stuff, just go check it out. If you like the vibe, definitely go pre-order that as well. But this is like one of the images that's going to be within the book, similar to how there's some images inside my light novel. So let me see, what do y'all think? Like, first, like, just recommendations of what I should definitely be aware of story, like what Western stories are definite nice pools to get influence from. I'm also going to be looking at images, maybe on Pinterest or something, just to also be filling in the visual space of where I can draw influence from, like mental mood board, if you will. But let me see, y'all. What questions y'all got? I'm going to be looking through. See what we got here. We're on TikTok. Got a gifter again. Top viewer, shout out Gigi. Is it Gigi or Kiki? I'm not sure, but shout out to you with the coins. Odo Chia, Toa Black, Dragon Boys, Mikasa, Kiko, JP, Cat Cakes. All y'all, shout out to y'all. Let me see. I'm doing something where I also want to be. Like this year, I want to be more active visually. Like, even though I'm working on all these comics, this is like one of the few windows where I'm not working on a comic like physically, like pages just yet, right? Like I did a 100-page colored comic in the last 3 months that no one has seen, never mentioned it, didn't do any promo for it. It was for a company, big shoots, more than a company, honestly, but something big, and obviously we'll mention it. We'll talk about it later, but usually I'm working on something, right? Usually I'm working on something. I almost worked on a big comic that I don't want to. It's just weird to kind of be talking about it, wishing the best. But I almost worked on something that everybody was talking about, which was really cool. But I was too busy, so he went elsewhere. And so shout out to him. I sent him a note, and I think it's doing well. So I was almost working on that too. So I'm usually busy, and not able to make video content as often as I'd like, which is how 95% of you guys found me, right? Most of you guys found me on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram, maybe Twitter, maybe a little bit. But for the most part, you guys find me through video, and I don't want to lose that. And so this year I want to do more visually from a video standpoint, and I'm getting like same way I had like manga assistants help me, and I have several videos breaking that down. I'm working on building a video team to just kind of help me out on that end as well. No crazy budget over here, but just something to keep the ball rolling consistently, and it will also be good for getting even more discovery. People finding out about Saturday AM and the books and things like that. So short form content, I'm trying to come back with that. I did a little bit of that like the year TikTok dropped, and it was pretty successful and kind of fallen off a little bit. And obviously I did a little bit on Instagram as well, but YouTube was the main one. And so I want to come back to all of it in an organized way, the best I can, so that I don't get burnt out. And then I want to add streams to that, and that's how this idea was kind of born. And it's also a way to flex my muscles, do something outside of Apple Black a little bit, but while keeping it fresh, you guys along for the ride, but also still doing Apple Black, right? So if anybody wants to support, best ways to support the books are to get physical copies. So I highly recommend you guys go do that. Apple Black Volume 1 to 5 and or the light novel as well. Please go check that out, and then check out other Saturday AM titles as well. Clock Striker is another one that's done really well. Orsha's done really well. Underground is one of our mangas. It's a martial arts manga, kind of like Vagabond meets Baki. It just won an international manga award from Japan. So that's another thing. We're also winning awards. A lot of our books have either won awards or been nominated for awards, which I think is pretty cool, right? So we'll talk about that more as we keep on pushing. But that's the purpose of this. I want to make more video content, and while also having fun. You know what I mean? In a fresh, cool, chill, relaxed way. And we'll see how things go, right? So let me see what questions y'all got. Again, I keep getting sidetracked. Don't worry, guys. I will get used to the streaming. Just give me a bit, right? Just give me a little bit. So let's see the questions y'all got. A lot of you following the host. Shout outs to. So there's a lot of people who are probably finding out about me for the first time, especially on TikTok. That's pretty cool. What is the manga called? The Cowboy Manga? I don't know yet. We will figure that out. You guys can leave what you would call your cowboy manga in the comments. I'd like to hear it. Don't worry. I won't steal. I'm trying not to think about the series much. I want to think about it and work on it on stream with you guys. But I already kind of have some ideas of certain things, like what I would call the energy source thing, and like what's the chakra or the ki going to be called, the ryatsu, the spiritual pressure, what's it going to be called, how would it work. Unfortunately, I've already started, I can't help it, right? I already started thinking about all that kind of stuff, but I want to really iron it and settle it on stream. So, but I'll be curious to hear what you guys think. But then my other manga, Apple Black, that's what it's called. You can go check it out. And there's also some really big new Saturday AM news, like with partnerships with a bunch of other companies that I think you guys would really appreciate and think is really cool. That's coming soon. So hopefully you guys stick around. You stick around for some really good news. Some of these partnerships will blow your mind. Guaranteed. And there's many of them. Love all your videos and tutorials. They inspire me. Appreciate you, Assassin Blue Stroke. Encourage your viewers to share your live and invite more friends. So, apparently I'm supposed to encourage you TikTokers, to share the video, like the video, engage and invite friends. Okay, that's what TikTok said. Okay, I don't know how this works, but the TikTok told me to say that. What's the cowboy manga called? I don't know yet. We're figuring it out. Yo, what's up? Yes, we can. Yo, hurry up. Oh, bro, I want the name. I don't know the name. Dang, Zane. There ain't no name. That's the whole point. We're figuring it out. I watch your videos all the time. Your YouTube videos all the time. You're working on your own. Good luck to you, bro. I learned so much. Thank you, Travis. See, Dino Shark, Apple Black, so cool. Appreciate you. Again, shout out to everybody who's read Apple Black or purchased the books, supported it in any way, and just being on the stream. Shout out to you for guys making it on the stream, wherever you're watching it from. Have you heard of Apple Black? I think. Have you heard of Apple Black? I think I'd like it. Yes, you would like it. I haven't heard of it, but I think you'd like it for sure. See what else we got here. Years later, I'm still a huge fan of your content. Thank you, Tabidi. Do you see the one shot by Oda called Bullet? Bullet? Is it a Western? Is it a Western? Dusty Roads. R.I.P. Dusty Roads. Not a bad one. Tumbled West. Not a bad one as well. Okay, that was TikTok. Let's see what y'all got on the grams. On the Instagrams. Red Dead. Oh, Red Dead Redemption. That is another one, right? That's another one that can help, answer some questions, world building stuff. I'm realizing that once this really starts, I'm definitely not going to I'm going to have to work outside of the stream at least thinking about it a little bit, right? Just a little bit, right? Nothing too crazy, but it'll be unavoidable, especially if I come up with an idea outside the stream. Starting the next stream, I'll just mention it and then we'll discuss. But Red Dead Redemption is a good one. Yes. Let's see here. See what you got here. Magnificent Seven. Dang, I got a lot of movies to watch. Magnificent Seven, Hateful Eight, Django. I've watched True Grit, but I might as well watch it again. Good, Bad, and the Ugly, I guess. I don't know. Part of the beginning of all of this is mostly gonna be research. It's actually not gonna be that much drawing. Drawing will kind of come into play. A little bit. We'll be drawing, coming up with some ideas, but it will come into play mostly once we start to do some concept art of how the world is going to look, the character designs, the characters, the villains, the heroes, and having iterations and versions, and we'll kind of go back and forth talking about the character designs and what works best and what doesn't, and things like that. But yeah. See what else we got here. Have you ever tried a manhwa style? I'm assuming by what you mean by that is the more Korean approach to making comics, Korean manga, Korean comics, where it's mostly colored. And a lot of times if you're reading it digitally, it's in the scroll format. To that, I say, you just wait. That's all. Yeah, not that many questions. I appreciate your work. Biola Junior. Naja boy. Let me see what we got here. Man, it's crazy how one person reading Apple Black has him in the position that's the hardest and most important person to get to read your story, and I'm experiencing that now with my comic. I'm not sure what you mean, but shout out to you still. No Spanish. Eventually there'll be Spanish. I actually did translate the first chapter of Apple Black to Spanish, but and somebody pirated my comic. Right, there was a while ago. I think I made a video about it. Somebody pirated the first chapter or the first couple chapters of Apple Black to Russian. They even like redesigned the Apple Black logo to Russian. I was more impressed than anything, to be honest. So it was one of the, manga sites, the piracy sites. So on one end, it's like if for people who would never have access to it, I don't mind the first chapter being free somewhere, right, to get them into it. And if the translation is not available, I'm a little bit more lax about it. But then there's some issues with the piracy and the pirate versions where they have the very old version of Apple Black where it's different to what's actually in the books. So somebody who's trying to get to read Apple Black for free, they're reading like the outdated old versions with stuff that doesn't even exist anymore in the canon and characters that aren't even there anymore or have been redesigned, like so much stuff. So that part actually bothers me the most. But yeah, Spanish version eventually I think will come. If we translations is not that easy. It's actually a different. Sometimes it's a completely different company in that country that publishes it. So for instance, right, Gunhild is a comic that Saturday we help publish, right? By Fred Torniger. Also won an award, like a Sparks Books Award, for a graphic novel for kids or something like that, like 2023 or something. Again, we're winning awards, so these are pretty good books. It's a Norse mythology book, but the reimagining of all these gods and all these Norse gods is really, really unique and cool. But Gunhild is published with like a Danish translation in Denmark. And the book, it looks how the book looks right now. Let me see if I have a... Yeah, there we go. So this is the book. This is the book right here, right? But you see all this, the Saturday logo, things like that. They're not actually, it's almost the Saturday on the spine. They're gone. In the Denmark version, it's almost like it's a completely different company that's publishing the book, kind of. They're licensing the book. It's a lot of publishing mumbo jumbo, but it's not as straightforward as you'd think. Now, technically, could I just make a translated version and just throw it online? Yes, but why would I do that? You know what I mean? And again, I don't know if I'm allowed to do that either. Even though I own Apple Black, there's some things that when you sign contracts and there's like publishing, and then more publishing mumbo jumbo. All I can say is, excuse me, translated versions are coming. Spanish, Mandarin, everything. For now, the ones that have been, not even all the books have been translated to Danish. Only this one was translated to Danish. So sometimes the international publishers or the publishers from other countries, they don't want all the Saturday AM books. They might just want one or two for XYZ reason, right? So there is no Danish Apple Black. It's just Gunhild that they wanted, which makes sense. Norse mythology. The creator lives in Denmark. The publisher decides, the one overseas, right? And so if a publisher comes to us and says, hey, we want this book, then it happens. A deal still needs to be struck, but that's kind of how it works. Sometimes the same case for a certain manga in Japan, English publishers would make, oh, I want this book, I want that book. They don't want the whole catalog sometimes. They don't even want all the volumes sometimes. They might be like, oh, I just want the first 4 volumes. Maybe because they want to test out how it's going to sell first before they fully commit. So all I can say is our books have been translated to Danish, Czech, Turkish, obviously in English, and the next 2 that seem the most immediate are French and Japanese. Is Spanish somewhere down the line? I hope so. I hope so. Because a lot of Spanish speakers, So that would be pretty cool. What is the race of the protagonist if they're black? Maybe Django. Django is another one I mentioned. The race of the main character will be black, but I've toyed with the idea of kind of having a pseudo two main character type thing. Again, I don't want to think about it too much. We'll get to it, but I'm thinking along those lines as well. Obviously, not calling them Django, but Django is also one of the series that I think I could draw some influence and inspiration from. JoJo Part 7. JoJo Part 7 is a western. Am I missing something? I've never watched any JoJo. Sue me. Where's the music? Sue me. No JoJo here. I want to get into JoJo. I just haven't had the time. But we'll get there. We'll get there. Let me see. Bakassi still in the works. And I actually did a lot more developing of Bakassi like late last year. And so I could have done this whole thing with Bakassi instead. Because I have some crazy wild ideas that I think are funny and they work. A lot of people actually enjoyed Bakassi, the first 20 pages of it, like the way the series started. I thought it started very strong. And so will I get back to Bakassi? Yes. And that has to do with the partnerships I was talking about that you guys won't believe for some of them. And depending on how certain things go, especially in the beginning, then we can see about what's going to happen in Bakassi. But trust me, something has been happening in Bakassi in a big way. Is just stalled just a little bit, right? If not, like if everything went according to plan, I'd have made a big announcement like maybe a month ago or 2 months ago. But plans been tweaked a little bit. But Bakassi's still there. It's not going anywhere. For those who don't know, Bakassi's another manga I write and illustrate. I just haven't had the chance to work on it as much. But it's essentially like if you like, what is it called? If you like Gintama, if you like Netflix Bright, if you like Deadpool, Ugly Americans, Family Guy, what's it? Blood Battlefront Brigade, something. I can't remember the name right now. But basically Kakai Sensen, let me say it like that. If you like that, that's kind of like what Bakassi was going to be, but a lot more wacky and a lot more, well, I guess not even a lot wackier, just actually more serious. But there's a lot more of a satirical parody element to it. So it's going to be like, have a serious moment, but then it's really dire moments, similar to how Gintama kind of toes that line. But Bakassi's still in the works. Is just nothing to announce just yet. But hopefully the readers and the fans still remember. The fact that you even know that, shout out to you. That's how I know you were an OG Whyt manga reader, follower, whatever you want to call it, supporter. Shout out to you. And then let me see. Go back to these questions. We got. So are the cowboys like supernatural mercenaries? Supernatural, I don't know. Not all the cowboys will be mercenaries. Some cowboys will be, the sheriff. The sheriff. You can think of. I was thinking maybe like the sheriff. I guess we're on the stream, so we can think about it right now. The sheriffs, I'm thinking, can be like the Hokages in a way, or maybe not the Hokage, but like the person in charge. Yeah, not the Hokage, but like the person in charge of protecting everybody. In a way, right? Maybe they can also have a mayor and a this and a that, but the sheriff is, you know what I mean? And the sheriffs are not necessarily mercenaries, but supernatural elements for sure. Another question is, should we go the supernatural element of, say, a demon slayer, where they're not actually like fire is not really coming out of the swords, water is not coming out of the swords, it's more of like imagined, or we're really dealing with like cowboys who is like a water type cowboy or a fire type cowboy. I think we could have some fun with it either way, but I'm leaning towards literal fire versus the Demon Slayer way. But that was something I thought about as well, right? If I was going, but then it's like, am I making the series a little bit more realistic, or am I? I don't know. It depends. But I'm leaning towards it's actually fire, or it's actually water, or it's actually a blast, or it's actually whatever the case may be. And I have some thoughts on how the power system is going to work. But let me get through these questions. What was your inspiration for Apple Black? It's a lot, you know. Obviously, shonen manga of like the 2010s, Bleach, Naruto, One Piece. But then even later, even series that came out after Apple Black have had some influence a little bit, but mainly the ones that came before. But beyond manga, you know, shows, TV shows, movies, films, Western comics, I've gotten influences from all over the place, certain cultures and religions, and then certain, you know, real life experiences have also played a role in how I craft Apple Black, in all kinds of culture and history. And, you know, if I'm just answering the question as point blank as I can, we could say that. But big ones, definitely the Gintama, Bleach, Naruto, One Piece, One Punch Man, you know? Let me see what else we got here. Okay, not too many questions, which is fine. We can interested in coming on my podcast and all that kind of stuff is like it's a little bit more complicated than that. But you know, maybe eventually we'll see how that goes. Because I'm not aware of your podcast. Mm-mm. Hey man, do you do art criticism? Maybe I might do a little art review criticism thing on here, maybe. But the main thing is the cowboy manga. That's the main thing. And question wise, I think that's what we got. Actually, can y'all hold on? Give me a second. I will be back. In the meantime, please let me know your thoughts again for what you would call your Western manga, and basically what what you'd call your Western manga, and what would you call this one? I already have a name for, like the power system or the power energy source. But what would you call yours, regardless of whether it's a Western or a cowboy manga or not? Just what would you call it, or what do you already call it? I know some of you make series. You guys can let me know in the comments wherever you are. But I will be back in a jiffy.
The call to adventure, like the call to leave the everyday world, the common, ordinary world of family and social reality, and go in quest of something, not even quite sure what it is, but somehow motivated. This whole question of what starts somebody off, you know, on the transformation quest, the process is a very interesting one.
Okay. Let me see here. Ugh. We're back. Hopefully, didn't lose too many people. What's your first step in the whole process? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Honestly, it only feels like I'm stalling a little bit. But the first part is research, right? The plan is... Here's the plan. The plan is to... I have like a list, right, of stuff to do. First, I want to explain what was happening for the stream, so hopefully everybody's on the same page. If you're on YouTube, I guess you can rewind, which is pretty cool if you missed anything. Which reminds me, YouTube, I've not checked anything in the comments. What's going on, YouTubes? Got 68 viewers. Matchy on the stream. Shout out to you, Nazi. Not Nazi. Nazi time. Okay, not the other one. I have a few names for Western. You got Draw. Draw is good. Draw, High Noon, Outlaw, Most Wanted. Most Wanted, Bounty. They could work, but I would add something to them. I would add almost like Malibu Most Wanted. I wouldn't just say Most Wanted just because it sounds old, outdated. But something Most Wanted, depending on the thing, then you got something. Then you work with something. High Noon. Okay. Most Wanted and Bounty, definitely. That is another thing. I was thinking this world could definitely have a bounty. Like a bounty, One Piece style bounty stuff. How would it be incorporated? I don't know yet, but we'll figure it out. Even Apple Black has a bounty thing. It's a little bit more complicated than Apple Black, but this one would be a lot simpler, similar to like a One Piece, I guess, right? But it depends on how we cook. Already done practicing. Yo, can I review Apple Black on my channel? It's a free country, buddy. Let me shut this lovely music down. It's a free country. You can leave a review. That would be nice, and it'll be appreciated too if you let more people know about the series. Hopefully you enjoy it. Most of the people have enjoyed it, so you can check out. I actually have a playlist on my YouTube channel that has the reviews that I've seen, especially from, reputable parties, legitimate parties. And so, you got people who've reviewed all of the volumes, some of them just Saturday AM books. Somebody read all the Saturday AM books at the time. And, the ones I find I add to the playlist. So highly recommend you guys check out the books. And if you want to join the community, you are welcome to do so. Apple Black Volume 1 to 5 is available. Working on 6. And then there's also a light novel. So shout out to everybody who supported in any way. Have you ever watched Cowboys vs. Aliens? I have watched Cowboys vs. Aliens. It is a Western. Some sci-fi elements to it. But I have seen that. Maybe I might add it to the list. And I know I can't we like watch stuff on the... You see, that's the kind of stuff that I don't want to do on stream. I don't know if I want to react to stuff like that on stream or watch it with you guys, because part of the process would be to do some research. Maybe I'd even watch some like video essays on these things, just to see what other people are thinking about. Let me see what we got here. But yes, I have seen Cowboys vs. Aliens. I only read MWA because you're a gamer and you like chess. I am also a gamer and I do like chess. Maybe for some breaks we'll play chess. You know what I mean? Anybody here who plays chess? You want to get, have a little fun? Maybe. But seeing more questions that y'all have on stream. Pedro Blaze, I want to be a professional manga. I want advice from you. Just ask your questions. I will do as best a job as I can. Let me see. Yes, at the Javits Center. Who's this? NYC EFX. Do you have another series planned after you finish Apple Black? I have other ideas. Like obviously, there's still Bakassi. There are some ideas for some Apple Black spin-offs. There are, yes. The short answer is yes. Without taking a little deep dive into everything, they're not as developed as Apple Black or Bakassi or some of the spin-offs. But for now, I'm just focused on making Apple Black as best as it can be, and then potentially this cowboy manga and Bakassi, because I told you, like I said, I'm still working on I'm working on Bakassi a little bit, so we'll see how things go. Are you submitting for Shonen Jump series or one shot? If I do, I don't know if I do anything with Viz. Maybe that will be something that will be discussed with this cowboy manga. I have a chess manga actually that I was thinking of doing something with, another one shot idea. But for these one shot ideas, when the one shot is, so for instance, right, with this cowboy series, when I have the storyboards for the first pages, then I can do whatever I want with it. And it be there. Honestly, it could still even be a Saturday AM thing, but could it be there like a Viz type thing, and maybe editors from Viz or something like that, and maybe maybe invite someone to the stream. Who knows? But the point is, for right now, I'm not thinking about all that stuff yet. I'm just thinking about completing the storyboard, and then we'll explore it. Again, a lot of the exploration and thinking and what to do and what not to do, I want the stream to capture that. Obviously, with Saturday AM is an obvious choice, but I want the stream to really capture what maybe would be best to move forward. Hopefully that makes sense. Whew. Let's see. Any questions I might have missed on YouTube? Cowboy manga like One Piece, okay? Nominated. Apple Black was nominated for an award. It didn't win it, but it was nominated. It didn't win, but it was nominated. So Judah had another question. I love your stuff. Why? I've been working on something for the past 5 years. The basic premise is a samurai and a gunslinger fighting demons. Good luck, Judah. Good luck. Except the demons run the criminal underworld. That could work. Tally Media Art. Someone who watches cows, cattle at the ranch. I don't get it. Is that the name of the series? That if it's a comedy, dude, that could work. Trigun. I did think about Trigun. I did think about that. I don't know if it's necessarily cowboy, but it's got some cowboy elements. Kind of like Cowboy Bebop a little bit. Gunblaze. JoJo Part 7. Somebody says that again. I've never seen any JoJo, so I wouldn't know. But now 2 people have brought that up. I'm going to check up JoJo Part 7 if it fits what I have in mind. But I'll come through all of this, get a list, and figure out what the best move is. Hateful Eight, I mentioned that already. Hateful Eight, and somebody said something else. Hateful Eight, and then there was another Western. A Western movie, kind of recent. Shoot. Anyways, we'll remember. But yeah, I think for the most part, we got the questions here. I really enjoyed Snow Children. Thank you. Without giving it away, you guys can go watch Snow Children on the channel on YouTube. So go to YouTube and watch Apple Black Snow Children. It's basically it's kind of, in a way, it's not canon, kind of, but I could make it canon, or at least in some way. But it's almost like how the anime have a full-length feature film that sometimes is canon, but sometimes it's not canon at all. Maybe filler, or just a movie, like a Naruto movie, My Hero, Bleach movies. Not all of them are canon. And so Snow Children was an Apple Black story that's I don't know if it's canon yet. Let's just say it's not canon, but there's certain elements that I could make canon, maybe, right? But the point is, with the side story, this Apple Black Snow Children, which you can go read on watch on YouTube or read, you can read actually in Saturday Annual. In Saturday Annual here, where a lot of our Saturday AM series did short stories that were illustrated by other people. So Apple Black Snow Children was actually like 90% of it was done visually by one of my manga assistants, Kiba. That's Fabio. Does great work. He's come in clutch many times, and so that was I was really happy with it. I wrote it, I storyboarded it, I paneled it, I put the words for it, kind of. But Kiba did 90% of everything else, and I think he did a good job. I also wanted to experiment with being a little hands off and just being a writer. I think I did draw a few panels, and that you can find here in Saturday Annual here. Clock Striker also has a short story drawn by Mikey Arts. Mikey Arts? Is that his name? Damn. Wait, hold up. I could just see it right here. By Mikey Art Book. Yes. So by Mikey Art Book, and a bunch of other stories that were illustrated by other people other than the original creators. So you can get that here. Or you can just watch Apple Black Snow Children on YouTube, on the channel, right now, or after the stream, preferably. And I really appreciate you checked it out. Fun fact, one of the Saturday AM editors read it and thought I was a very dark person. And my response is good. And then the second fact is the manga assistant, first time he read it and went through the storyboards, according to him, he cried. That's all I need. That means whatever I did, it worked enough, right? But is it canon? I don't know if it's canon, but I could canonize it with a few tweaks here and there in some way, if that makes sense. But hopefully you enjoyed Snow Children. You can leave a comments on it. I also made sure the voice acting was pretty good. Shout out to Toasty Marshmallow, who lends the voice, and all the usual suspects. I think Luis Bermudez, Phil Avalos, everybody who lent the voice, Jessica, all of them I think did a great job. And so it was always fun to do like little motion comic voice acting thing. And then there's like Japanese translations, Korean, French. You can also, just to hear what a Apple Black anime might potentially sound like, you can change the audio track on YouTube to hear it. And maybe we'll do that at some point, react. Maybe we'll even do that today. Maybe to close the stream, we might do that. We'll see. So the Ballad of Buster Scruggs is a really good, fairly modern Western movie. Okay. I'll check that out. I will check that out. QT Comics, shout out to you. Shout out to everybody showing up to the stream, man. It's like on YouTube, we have almost 100 people. Let's see if we can get it even higher. Don't forget to like the video, leave comments. Anybody wants super chats, for more, doesn't matter how much it is, whatever, to just, highlight your questions or just support the channel, whatever the case may be. It's also highly recommended, but regular questions are fine. But like the videos, share the streams, wherever you're watching it from. I think I'm streaming on Kick, and I was just, whatever, just to say, welcome to Kick. How can you make a fire system with 6 shooters? Don't know what that means. How can you make a power system? Each character can shoot elemental bullets or something. Yeah, that's an idea. Black Thoughts. That's an idea. What's how many people on? How many people on Kick? Actually, nobody. I literally made the account today or yesterday, but whatever. So back to TikTok. Kiki or Gigi. Well, one day we'll figure out the correct pronunciation. But shout out to everybody who's still here. What manga panel is this from? Again, this is from. Let me see if you guys can actually see it right. This is from. This this is pretty much a commission for a separate light novel called I Live to Serve the Witch by Jackie A. So that's what this was for. But let's actually visually change to see what else we got here. So this is chapter 31 of Apple Black. For those who are curious, if you've never seen any Apple Black, this is 31 is, I believe, is from volume 4 over here. And so these are the pages in volume 4. The cool thing with some of our volumes is like every once in a while some of the pages are just in color for impact or importance and things like that. So let's see here. You got this is like the final part of the fight between Sano and Caesar. And then you can see some of the pages, double spread stuff, you know, blah blah blah, blah 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 blah. Don't want to spoil it too much for everybody, but that was cool. And let's leave it on this, and then so people aren't too confused. But let me see. Haven't seen you on TikTok yet, but yeah, well, there you go. I also have, someone said something about wrestling. I also had a wrestling idea, but again, I can't there's only one me. I can't do it all, right? So the cool thing about having manga assistants is actually, you know, it helps ease the pressure, mental strain of all this stuff. And so we've been able to do a lot of work in like a short period of time, which I thought was pretty cool. So, you know, maybe in the future, the manga assistants in the manga studio that Cece. You see, we got it. Thanks for the viewership, Cece. Shout out to you. I appreciate all the support. I catch you when you see you know, some of my stories, and I see some of yours as well. Don't worry. I CC them. But yeah, God, I was completely lost in my train of thought. But yeah, these can't even remember what I was talking about. Yeah, was it wrestling? I have like an idea. Oh yeah, the manga studio. So the manga assistants forming a manga studio, and then, you know, maybe we can work on multiple manga simultaneously, which I think would be pretty cool. But let me see. Any more questions here on the stream? And then we can get to the cooking, you know? We can get to the real cooking. The real cooking, which would be, I'm watching you on IG, YouTube, and TikTok all at the same time just for the hell of it. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. That's funny. Yes, Blood Blockade Battlefronts. That's what I was trying to remember. Where Bokasi is kind of similar to that too. Eventually, in the beginning, I actually never seen it or even heard of it when I was coming up with Bokasi. But when I put out Bokasi, a lot of people were like, "Oh, this reminds me of that." And then I checked it out, and it's really similar to Bokasi. Way more similar than I thought. But yeah, let me see. Again, if you guys have more questions, I'm everywhere, YouTube, Whyt Manga. And if you have ideas, questions for tutorials, a lot of the videos I have on YouTube already answer a bunch of those questions. And let me see, any other question I'm forgetting? And then I think it's time to really focus on this cowboy manga. We've been talking about it, but I think it's time to really hamper down. Is Snow Children like an Apple Black OVA? Yeah, you can think of it like that. But again, it could become canon. Kind of like how if you guys go read Bleach's one shot, it's very different from what actually happened in Bleach. So you can argue it's not canon. But if you keep watching Bleach, especially during that Orihime brother stuff, you know, that happens later, a lot of that was just pulled from the one shot. So could Snow Children be canonized in a way? Kind of. Yeah. But maybe not. Or maybe one day if we get an anime, the anime can slip it in there in a creative way. I don't know yet. But I just know I had fun doing it, and I'm very happy people enjoyed it. It was slightly different from what I usually write, but I wanted to write something a little bit more emotional and a little bit darker but while still being on brand for Apple Black and the characters involved. So hopefully it succeeded in that from that standpoint, and you guys really enjoyed it. Again, shout out to the voice actors who helped play a role with that. Let me see what else. Love your art, Dave Mays. Appreciate you. Love the art. And in what order do you develop? We're about to start cooking with this. Okay, so I think I've covered everything. Let's make sure we're showing the right thing on the YouTubes. Well, on the screen everywhere really. And let me see here. Good morning, 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 good morning. Let me see here. Dave Washington, mission extracted. Yeah, I think these stream. Oh, Phil is here. Phil, the Philsterman 10. That is literally Sano. That is Sano's voice right there. You left a comment on. Let me see here. You left a comment on the YouTube stream. Shout out to Phil. So that's Phil Avalos. And he is the voice of Sano. I remember when I was doing the auditions, people sent in voices. There were a couple options, but Phil was the first one. I was like, this is perfect. This is perfect. This is it. And I thought that was really cool. He also voices Angelo, which is pretty good too. So that is Phil. So shout out to Phil for lending his voice. Did I see Corey Kenshin's manga? Yep. Shout out to Corey again. If you guys were on the stream, I mentioned something about kind of something. If you know, you know. But shout out to Corey and all the success. I'm sure he will continue to be great within that field. I believe the book sold a lot of copies from what I heard. But that's pretty. It's also expected, but that's pretty good. So yeah, let's get to the cooking. I don't actually want to. Well, before that, what's the plan? Right? What's the plan? What's going to happen? How are we going to put this cowboy manga together? Right now, we got 25. I believe we got 25 people on Twitch. 25, and then on YouTube we got 82. Instagram got like 20, and TikTok we have. I don't know what we have on TikTok, but for you guys who are here, and maybe I might do the streams earlier in the day. Maybe that'll make things a little better. I know I probably have more viewers at that time, so that might be something we do. But definitely around this time is what we're going to be doing. The plan that I had was, let's get this out the way a little bit. So the plan that I had, let me pull it together, because I had a whole schedule of how I was going to do this. Like, what were the things I was going to touch on? Certain streams would focus on certain things versus others. Is it this? Okay. So, the first stream was like, oh, how to write this, and hopefully this will kind of be like a school for you guys. You guys will be part of it, and obviously I'll be answering as many questions as I can, the appropriate ones, and we'll just kind of do that. And we'll touch on certain discussions, and we'll talk about originality. So the first I was going to talk about originality, but the main thing is like research, where to get influence from, to get inspired, what we like, what we don't like. What does it mean to be a cowboy? Again, you guys can leave your thoughts in the comments. I'm sure everybody, again, it's not something where there will be like one definition for. It'll be something that I'm sure either a group of people or certain individuals will have an idea of what that actually means to them, and that's how the characters can kind of interact with each other with that in mind. And sometimes it'll clash, sometimes it would maybe not fully clash, but clash in some parts, and then sometimes it'll completely gel. So I want to be thinking about that, but general doing research of that era, that world, and then what part of it can we bend. So off rip, I want the world to be clearly okay, this is a cowboy manga, the same way you look at Naruto and the ninjas, right? It's ninjas, but I mean, there's a bunch of elements about it that is not very ninja, right? Ninjas don't walk around in bright yellow jumpsuits. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it's ninja, right? And maybe the bright yellow jumpsuit is also an indicator of this new idea of what it means to be a ninja, ushered in by that generation of ninja that Naruto kind of and so on kind of come into, and changes people's minds, kind of like the Zabuza. Not that Zabuza wasn't all black, but when we think of ninjas, we're thinking of all black. So with cowboys, I don't want it to exactly be cowboy the way we see it, but definitely to a high degree, but enough room for me to do what I want to do. Does that make sense? Right? So enough for me to take some fun liberties, right? Cowboys obviously didn't shoot, they weren't elemental. Not that I'm going to make the Cowboys give certain cowboys certain kind of, without being too overcomplicated, cowboys don't have superpowers. But in this one, they might. The same way in One Piece, pirates don't have superpowers. Historically, as far as we know. But, in One Piece, they do, right? And then how they get these powers are also on brand. It's also on brand with pirates and pirate stories. And so, for instance, you see like Pirates of the Caribbean and, oh, the curse of blah, 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 or this chest of gold and da, da, da. Those elements are still very present within One Piece, right? The curses or the devil fruit. It's kind of like a curse in a way, kind of. And then with Naruto, the ninja and the art technique and the this and the that and the shurikens and the kunais, and like I said, what it means to be a ninja, the mission is what matters. Like some people will die to complete the mission, and then some people will sacrifice their friends and sacrifice limbs and da 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 da. Like everybody has their own idea of what that means, and so I want the Cowboy series to kind of have those elements and still feel cowboy, still feel true to the source, but enough where I'm having fun with it, and I'm taking really cool shonen-esque elements. So I'll give an example. Cowboy stuff, even like in Westworld, right? If anybody's seen Westworld, season 1, even though Westworld is in the Western, it is, but because of the sci-fi elements to it, but in many ways it is, kind of. When in episode 2, when the character who's like going into because Westworld is kind of like an amusement park in the future where all the cowboys are the hosts, the robots, the women, the citizens of the town, blah blah, they're all robots. But the real people coming into the park, they're given, at least the guys were given an option of like the hats you could wear. Now that's already got me thinking. The hats, you can be a white hat or a black hat. A black hat is normally the bad guy, and a white hat is normally the good guy, right? So I can already play with that idea within the world here with the characters that wear white hats and the characters that wear black hats, and then maybe have a little bit of fun with characters that wear other kinds of hats. Because even in Westworld, it's not like everybody's hat is white or black. There's some gray area, there's some brown, there's some whatever, right? But in my head, off rip, I can even create like a shikibukai, a katsuki-esque thing where all of them wear black hats, or all of them wear white hats, or maybe the quote-unquote good guys, the same way there you have some Marines in One Piece, all of them have white hats. Maybe it's like the 8 white hats, the 7 black hats. I can already use that idea of black hats and white hats, and I've already created like an Akatsuki-esque group off of that alone. You know what I'm saying? And then, I can even play around with what it means to be a black hat or a white hat, right? Is the world that black and white. You know what I'm saying? You know, I could do a lot of stuff. I could, you know, this is the fun stuff. I don't know about you guys, but it's always fun to come up with ideas and you know see where you can take it. And the hard part, trust me, is actually drawing it. But the drawing can be fun, especially when you put in the hard work and it just visually looks rich. But the writing and coming up with ideas and you know writing and coming up with ideas is great for me, right? Um, but then you also make sure that you're executing in a really cool way. So the storytelling techniques need to be there. There are a lot of people who have ideas and they want to call themselves writers, but they don't write anything. Excuse me. They don't write anything. They don't really hone that craft, right? But they have a lot of ideas and they think they're writers. But you know, writing just like drawing is something that you work on, right? So the execution is key. You can have the greatest idea, but if the execution is poo poo, then so will be the rest of everything else. So the art can only sometimes really good art can save you, but it can't save you that much. In some cases, it will save you just to a point where it would actually highlight how bad the execution is and maybe the storytelling and the pacing of like missed potential, missed opportunity, XYZ, right? But the plan was to do research. And you know what? As I was writing, as I'm saying that, I like to have a document as I'm saying this. So I already have the document to the side, and I will change the screen to show the Google Doc. But I always like to have a Google Doc where I have all my ideas. Like if somebody sees the Apple Black Google Doc, to be honest, and it's just a Google Doc of like the outline of the story and ideas and da 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 da. I don't think most people will understand it completely, right? I think you'll understand it for the most part, but there'll be elements of it where you would not even know what the hell I'm talking about. It's really for my eyes only, but I'm gonna create a document for this cowboy manga, and I will share that in the. I'll share that soon. And I think that's actually where we'll start. But then when I'm talking about the plan for the streams, and maybe I'll post that somewhere, maybe in the YouTube community or wherever. I'll post it somewhere. But again, I was gonna do research. I was gonna like think about the world, kind of like what I said with the hats and sheriffs, white hat, black hat, the duels, the power system, the bandits, and you know, what kind of treasure, what era is this, like what kind of people are here, you know, all of that, and then the story, the main character, what are their goals, how does it play with each other, are there any plot twists, engaging stuff, the fighting, right? Because one thing they have the power system, but is the fighting going to be interesting? Because I was thinking about it, and I don't know if I want something where the whole thing is just shooting back and forth. That might be tricky. That might be tricky, but we'll figure it out because I want the action to also be dynamic and cool and have its moments. But thinking about all that stuff, exploration, and then you know the idea of if there's any lore and history to this world, the culture of this world, are there any prophecies that might have basically up until this point would have been one stream. And then the next stream, that's when the prophecy, lore, history, the mystery, character exploration, like the good guys, bad guys, yada yada yada. Another stream was going to focus on, you know, making the story memorable, like making sure it's hitting on certain cylinders, right? And then you know moments, death, cliffhangers, making sure the dialogue is not only good but very cowboy esque. You know, if there are any power ups, the power system, everything is on brand. How to build tension. So some of these will, again, they'll be educational, while also be fun. But you know, a little bit tutorial based, but still loose at the same time. I don't know. We'll cook together. You'll see what I mean. And I think every stream was going to kind of touch on something or a couple things, right? At one like in one stream for a couple hours, and so there's stuff here on plots and making the characters feel real, the story feel real, writing popular characters, you know, writing the power system, the stream for like the power system, and then writing a captivating hook and all this kind of stuff is going to come into play. Mistakes that people might make when coming up with manga, especially shonen, which is what we're trying to do. And then making sure it's a one shot. And so what does it mean to be a one shot, which is kind of like a pilot, and that's what I want this to for now. That's what I want this to be. It might change over time, but that's what I want this to be. Just a one shot, like a true one shot, and then we'll figure the rest out as we go. And while still ending in a way that leaves you guys wanting more, like one shot, usually his job is to make you is to entertain you, tell a satisfying story, a standalone story, but also make you see the potential in the series and the franchise overall to then want to see it be serialized, right? In layman's terms, or very quick definition, it's the best way I could put it. And I think once all the story stuff is done, then we'll get into writing the script, right? If all of that is, if we have everything where it needs to be, then there'll be a stream about writing the script. So the whole stream will be script, dialogue, narration, yada, yada, yada. If you guys see any typos, please tell me. Pacing the story properly, like I said, dialogue. And I think then, probably when the script is finished, that's when we'll think about naming, giving the series a name. And then once the series is given a name, then the series logo. It's like there's all kind of stuff I can see. I'm just looking at my list here. Let me see if I can actually share it with you guys. The plan. Yeah, I can share it with you guys. Yeah. So you can see a lot of it. Let me see here. It's like from here, just how I want what I want each stream to at least touch on. We might touch on more than that, but a little bit more. It depends on the stream. I also don't want the streams to be too robotic. But in some cases, some streams will be shorter than others for whatever reason, but it is what it is. And then we'll touch on some symbolism, some literary tricks that you can add to your art and story. So again, throughout this whole process, it's me taking you through my mind and how I do things while also kind of giving you guys a pseudo tutorial, if that makes sense, right? Then I'll touch on some things that might not pertain to this one shot story, but it will be fun to discuss. And for the most part, that's kind of how I want to cook. There's a lot more. If you guys can see my screen, you can read some of the stuff. But that's where my head is at. And then I will have like a Google Doc. This is where I want to have This is where I write all my ideas, even like the stupid ones. Everything goes here. So let's even the ideas that aren't great, they get added to the doc. This doc is also where I'll have the script. And this is where we cook, right? For the most part. And so let me see. Wait. Yeah, this is where we cook. So, no name yet. Oh, we can give it a fake name for now, like a draft name. And how about I don't know. Heartbreak Kid. Yes, this is the fake name for now. Heartbreak Kid. Heartbreak Kid. I like to give it house manga. Yeah, maybe give it a headline so I can always come back to it. And the font doesn't matter much, but so the some concept stuff that I like to play with, that I already know off rip, that okay, we're gonna touch on this, right? And this is just to write it down so I don't forget. Trust, there's some times where I was writing volume 6 and I was coming up with new ideas, not knowing that, wait, I already thought of something dope years ago. And when I go to the outline document, it's all there, and I'm just like, oh, perfect. This works. This fits like a glove. If it's even like crafted exactly how I'd want it. So sometimes I've come up with so many ideas that I forget, and once that started to happen too much, I believe like the mid 2010s, I just started making a document. So right now it's Google Doc, but I used to have a Word document where I had it on my computer, but eventually I put it on Google Doc because, you know, it's on the internet, it's not going anywhere. I've lost my computer a couple times, so thank goodness we're able to recover all that stuff. But some of the concepts right now, my typing, I don't care how it's. Basically, it doesn't have to make sense, is what I'm saying. I'm kind of like just, I'm just writing stuff that I want to not forget. And eventually, we can mold the document to be what we want. Hold on. Okay. So I mentioned stuff about white hats, like certain concepts that are uniquely cowboys. White hats, black hats. I don't know what these mean yet, but they'll mean something. It's just helping me build this world and make it true in a way. Another thing I was thinking of is if the world should have some cyberpunk, steampunk elements. And I'm thinking, yeah, but sparingly. So both like cyberpunk and steampunk and all the other solar punk, all the punks, all the solar punk, cyberpunk, CM punk, all the punks. But sparingly. I still want it to feel grounded enough. You know, cyberpunk, steampunk. I probably would do steampunk nah, not really. But I'll be careful with the steampunk. Just because, you know, Clock Striker, for instance, with Saturday AM does a lot of steampunk stuff. And I don't want to be too similar to that, you know? Even with, I don't know what you would classify Trigun, but same there. But I care less about Trigun than the Clock Striker. The sheriffs, what that means. So obviously maybe there'll be a mayor and a this and a that. Bounties, right? Because like you hear these bounties, you know how much it is, the currency. I think I'll leave the currency $1. It's the world is not going to be America, right? It's still going to be this, again, similar to like Naruto. It's not Japan, but it's going to draw from that a little bit. But I'll just leave it as a like dollar, like the currency. Or if I give it its own name, maybe I give it its own name actually. Yeah, maybe I give it its own name. Yeah, probably actually. So the currency, I don't know what the currency will be called. But it'll be called something. Currency. Mercenaries and bandits. And this will also help me with like what I search and what I research and stuff. You know, cowboys, obviously, which is the main thing. Is there going to be like a school for cowboys? Cowboy Academia? Let's put a question mark on that one. Again, some of these I'm writing down. I might not use them. I might discard them. I'm just throwing ideas, and you guys can actually throw ideas in the comments. Let's see what y'all got to. Just things to really make this world rich. Now, the power system, I'm thinking, I don't know how it's going to work exactly, but I'm thinking of calling it grit. First, as a nod to True Grit. It's like, oh yeah, boy, you got some True Grit. And so maybe it's like grit is like what the power system, not the power system is called, but like the chakra, if you will. So grit, and how is that implemented? Obviously, I want to stay away from fruits for a host of reasons. One Piece, Apple Black, and anything for. I want to stay away from that. And I started thinking about tattoos. So it's like this, weird tattoos that you have that give you powers in some case. So this part, I'm thinking we don't have to answer it right now, but just to let you guys know what I'm thinking. I'm thinking the power system. It could be something where everybody kind of has access to it, right? And if they go to this, it's similar to Apple Black, where it's like you can do sorcery. Almost everybody can do sorcery, kind of. Well, not everybody. It depends on your bloodline and your, who you are, where you're from. For some people, the black in the bloodline has diminished to they don't have any powers anymore. They can't do sorcery. I don't really know how Naruto is, but I don't think everybody was a ninja in Naruto. Not everybody's a Shinigami. So, but a lot of people, especially in Naruto, either were or had the ability to become ninjas. And it's like maybe for this one, I don't really need to look to shonen manga that came before me. I can just decide based off of what I think with cowboys, where maybe there's like a school for cowboys, similar to One Piece, where you could be a pirate and you don't have to eat a devil fruit. You don't have to have powers to be a pirate. And I think that is the closest to what I would imagine I would go for here, whereas everybody can kind of either be a bandit or maybe bandits are like marine the pirates, and then the officers are like the Marines, and then you have a sheriff, right? The same way you have like admirals and blah 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 blah. And so I think One Piece is the closest to what I'm thinking. So everybody can kind of be a cowboy, kind of, in One Piece. Maybe not a pirate, but like a person of the sea. But not everybody would have powers, which in some ways would actually make the powers themselves more special. And then I don't have to like sit down and try to come up with powers for everybody and how it works. I spend less time doing that. With Apple Black, especially for this tournament arc, almost everybody has powers. So I really have to sit down and figure out how their powers are going to work, and how's the fight going to come into play, and have it make sense and be interesting and yada yada yada. But this one, I think I could limit it, and they don't have to be that powerful. It can be very grounded, but certain people can have powers. Now, what that power source would be, again, I want to stay away from anything we've seen before too much. Like anything that you consume, I want to stay away from that. But I'm thinking tattoos. So like maybe some kind of, tattoos. Because I also had this, it got me thinking when I was watching Westworld, right? There's like the girl with the snake tattoo, and how, I believe maybe she's tattooed. The idea is that she's tattooed with the blood of people that she's killed. Or sometimes, tattoos have, this is good, because tattoos sometimes have meaning behind them. Tattoos, meaning behind them. Even like the stereotypical stuff you hear about tattoos in prison. Oh, the teardrops is for everybody that I've, so maybe the tattoos can also be that there's certain levels of tattoos, or how much tattoos the person can have could also determine how powerful. and it's a special type of ink tattoo, or it's blood, or something. I don't know. Give me a second. The cool thing, and what you can also learn from this, is even when I decide what I want to do for the power system, when we get to that, you don't actually have to have all the answers. You just need to have all the answers to a point. You definitely need all the answers for the now, right? For this one shot I'm going to write, for the parts that are relevant to the one shot, for the parts that are relevant to the reader, I need to know, for me at least, my approach. I like to know what's happening. I like to know how it works, how it really works. It also can help me decide, how the battles are going to be constructed and yada, yada, yada. I need to know how it works. Also, this also answers a question I get a lot of times about what do you do first? Do you do the characters first, or do you do the world building first, or you do the stories first? The answer is, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter which one you do first. You can do any one you want to do first. It's as long as the end product is good. There are people who have a story and then they give birth to all this. You can have a story and no world, and then you just insert the story into any world and move things around to make it fit, right? So you can also almost think of it as separate entities, right? But sometimes, thinking about the world, or just thinking this, I'm not even thinking specifically about the world. Well, I guess I am, but I'm also open to thinking about the story as well. Right now, I'm just writing anything and everything, all the elements that I think would be necessary from a story standpoint, world building standpoint, anything. But right now I am a little bit more focused on the world building, or at least that's what I'm writing down the most right now, not gonna lie. But I'm open, Okay, so the ink, maybe there's something special with the ink, blood, how much ink, the lore and history, maybe even regarding the tattoos, how much ink, lore and history overall. And history, lore, history of the world, and tattoos. And so I don't know if maybe you guys can't see this, see the writings to us. Let me zoom in a bit. That's a bust. The world. Heists, gold, treasure type thing it's very piratey, but it's also very cowboy-y. So gold and silver, treasure, trains, maybe a scene takes place on a train. Another western that I'm going to draw inspiration from. That's it. I'll do influences. I'll do influences, and that would be something. So we mentioned Django, Wild Wild West. Wild Wild West was if you think about it, it was very, very anime-ish. If anybody's seen that, even though Will Smith says he turned down The Matrix to do Wild Wild West, and it was a bust in the box office. But as a kid watching it, I enjoyed it. I can see how maybe watching it now, maybe it sucked in certain ways, but I remember watching it back then. I was like, I like this. Maybe I was too bored, but I enjoyed it. True Grit. Someone said Trigun. Red Dead Redemption. I might not literally go watch all of this or make sure I play the whole Red Dead Redemption or watch the whole walkthrough, but I don't know. I might find something interesting about each of them that's going to also help me add to the concepts above. How the government works, and obviously I'll be drawing from real history in general. Real history. Speaking of real history, even Django, there's elements of slavery and things like that, and I don't mind touching that in really interesting ways. But it'd have to be interesting. If not, I don't know. But that's something I'm thinking about. Slavery? Question mark. Because in fact, just thinking about it, I can come up with some really cool ideas. And this is all going to help me. Part of this challenge is just I want to make a cowboy manga, but now the challenge is okay, do that and have it be interesting. And so I don't want to just do stuff. I want to do it if it is going to be interesting, right? If I have maybe something interesting to say. And so we'll go with that. But yeah, Red Dead Redemption. Westworld. Some quests. Yeah, did I say like Cowboy Academia? Basically, I just mean like, the schools. Which a lot of shonen series have kind of done. It's like school this, school that. School organization, yada yada yada. Let me just see. School. It would be nice to kind of do it in such a way where it's not like a school, because I don't think I want to do a school setting cowboy thing, kind of like Naruto. I don't think that's what I want to do. But let's just write it down for now. Westworld. The Hateful Eight. Somebody mentioned another series. I just can't remember. Good, Bad, and Ugly. Good, Bad, and Ugly. Like I'll go watch. I definitely will watch a bunch of video essays just to see what people are talking about. Cowboys and Aliens. Right? Not that I would take these worlds and just combine them all to be one. But, there'll be elements that maybe I can reimagine in interesting ways. The same way, for instance, with Apple Black, they're sorcerers, right? And sorcerers, witches, wizards, the Harry Potter influences here and there. But I reimagine what a wand is. I reimagine say an invisibility cloak, and you have like some intelligent cloaks and infinity cloaks with like unlimited pockets, and obviously an invisibility cloak just makes you invisible. But then an invincibility cloak, like there's so much I could do, and which is interesting because they all start with the word "in" in front of it. But I just like that's an interesting thing that I added to that. The wands, it's not just a little tiny stick that you wave. I did things where a wand could be anything. Right, which made it really shonen, But those are the type of things I'm talking about, where I'm putting all these concepts together. Like, what can I do with it? Like, how can I play with it? I guess if you have sheriffs, then you have deputies. And then, elemental and complex powers. Again, I'm thinking they'll be born from the tattoos, special tattoos, specific types of tattoos that obviously not everybody has, right? Which would make them, even special, right? So I guess this is most similar to One Piece in that regard, where it's like these are tattoos that grant certain powers, and each tattoo has a different thing. And maybe they're coveted as well, and so maybe it's a specific ink. So it's the ink really, and then I don't know. We'll think about it. It was basically I have to think about the ink and the tattoo, and so maybe the ink is infused with certain mythical blah blah blah. So definitely magic of some kind. exists here, which then makes me want to add gypsies. I don't know if there is any historical accuracy to that, but am I even spelling that right? Is that how you spell gypsies? No. I still don't know if I'm spelling that right, but whatever. But maybe something about that can play a role, but they can get their powers from ink or special inks, and it will grant them a certain kind of chakra. Here I might call grit. So did I say that already? Did I write that down? Yes, grit. Grit, essentially the spiritual pressure chakra, whatever. Let's say the energy levels. And then, so cowboys and aliens. Let me see what you guys. Let's see what you guys. Let me see what else y'all are cooking. Cowboy, bounty hunters. I guess that's, again, I don't care. I'm just writing stuff down. Just writing it down. I don't really care too much, so I'll add that to the concepts. But the bounty hunters, it could be anybody, but sure. Bounty hunters. Brothels, definitely. Doctors and weird illnesses, because the plague. We dealt with a lot of stuff. This is like the plague. Definitely economic class. So some sense of classism. So that I want to play with. The army, maybe. Politics. Not too much though, but definitely. It's unavoidable. Well, let's not say and. We might still be adding to it. But again, back to. Let me see what questions y'all. Maybe anything else you can have. Will the Heartbreak Kid embody Billy the Kid? What's this? Huckism? You smart. You smart. You special. You getting it. Heartbreak Kid. One, I'm a huge Shawn Michaels HBK fan, so it's just fun for me to say. But am I going to call the series Heartbreak Kid just Heartbreak Kid? Probably not. Probably not. But something along those lines. But yes, Heartbreak Kid, Billy the Kid. Let's even go back. Let's go back to this. Billy the Kid, Jesse James. Let me write that down. Again, I don't want to forget none of this. But yeah, that's where I got the Heartbreak Kid thing from. And then Jesse James. Who knows? I could some big names or popular names or even accurately historical figures I might use in this world, but obviously with some tweaks here and there. Could be the Goldie Roger. I don't know. But I'm just throwing things out there so I don't forget and I just have it at arm's length. Let's see what else we got. Oh no. Only brush. Do you write the entire volume at once? Before I didn't used to. I used to write chapter by chapter. But now I write the entire volume at once. Yes. Like I know what happens from volume to volume to volume. I know like the skeleton of what happens. But now I'm writing, honestly, not just the entire volume at once. I'm writing a whole arc at once. because that way, I don't know, it's easier for me to foreshadow certain things. It's easier for me to figure out how best to craft the dialogue in certain parts. But yeah, that's what I like to do now. I like to I like to know exactly what happens in great detail. The more detail I know, the better. But I don't try to write the whole story, but just over time, I develop it and develop it and develop it and develop it and then build from there. So let's see if anybody has any conceptual stuff or so some of those ideas that y'all wrote down. I just want to like for influences, stuff I could check out, stuff I can go read, watch that might come in handy. Oh, shout out to Thomas for the membership. I appreciate you. That's another cool thing. I think a lot of the especially when we do start to develop art on these projects, a lot of the behind the scenes art, concept art that you see me create, blah blah, all of that stuff. A lot of it will be available on social media, but a lot more of it and in more detail. Sometimes maybe the Clip Studio Paint files and things like that. Those will be available on my Gumroad and for those who are like members on YouTube or on Patreon as well. And then maybe I'll even make a unique special Discord Discord channel for everybody. So you guys can join my Discord if you guys are not on that. But something like that where everybody's on there as well. But we'll have fun here. That is the goal. So thank you for the subscription or joining for the membership. Zero is actually pretty cool. I think I met you, Zero Thomas. I met you and your wife at DreamCon. So shout out to you. Also great artist. You guys go check him out. It's been drawing for a while actually, since I started online. And he's also improved a lot. Tattoo, grit, power. You get it. All that is chaotic. You get it. And I believe I met you in New York as well. So I've met some of y'all. Shout out to y'all. Y'all been holding it down with me for a long time. And then if you call them lines, I'll just call it tattoos. Tattoos. Another one, it could have been like maybe they get their powers from hats. They can get their powers from hats as well. But for the most part, that way I don't want a situation where I pigeonhole myself and all the characters need hats, or every good character has to wear a white hat or a black hat or vice versa. I want it to be a little freer than that. But I think there could be some situations where certain hats could grant certain additional abilities or something. So hat additional ability. The same way in Apple Black, like I said, I mentioned the wands and then I mentioned cloaks, right? So certain hats can have maybe certain hats have certain abilities, right? So special hats. Special cowboy hats. Special cowboy hats. Just to write it down. Might not do anything with it, but yeah. Now the weapons. How would they use guns? Staple in westerns is also a duel, right? The duel where they do is like meet you at 12 o'clock. It's almost like the high school meet you at 3 o'clock at the basketball court, blah, 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 blah. You could do something with the duels here. Something interesting where it's also like, it's timed and who can have like the quickest draw. Yes, I'm writing that down. So like a quick draw duel. I don't know how that will come into play with the powers and the fighting because I obviously don't want all the fights to be duels like that. I think that will be boring. I think that will be boring. Public. What's it called? What's it called when it's like a public hanging, but is there a name for it? I don't know. A public something. I forgot what they call. What's it called? Public executions. Uh, Public executions. That's definitely something. Right. These are all things I'm adding to this pile. You guys can't see. Wait, you guys can't see my thing again. So let's put it back there. But I'm only doing that because I'm only switching back and forth because I want to. I also want to see what you guys are saying because some of you might remember some of the references that we talked about, like movies and films and stuff like that. Because I know they're still there in the chats. Yeah, hat enhancers. I think that could be cool. It could have natives. Yes, I did think about. Thank you, natives, and maybe they're the ones who put the tattoos. Maybe you need a special. I don't know, but we'll figure it out. I do like natives. Natives are also part of the even in Westworld, natives kind of play a role, and so I'm gonna throw in some religion, different religions, right? And then actually, Africa. You know, throw in some, especially with the black characters and stuff like that. I might throw in some African culture, especially if I'm gonna touch on the slavery stuff in any way. Then some of this would play a role for sure. Hold on. Let's see some reflections that might get back of. Okay, cool. Yeah. So yeah, let me see. Hold on. Give me a second. Hold on, give me a second. It's another party trying to cause distractions here. For I will not be distracted. You hear me? You back off. Meow. Get him. Anyways, that's Manga Meow. For those who don't know, I have a cat, Lelouch, aka Manga Meow, aka Lil Meow Meow, might come into play. But definitely the natives and that culture and the feathers. That's a good catch. I did think about that before, but again, I'll think about something, and then I'll purposely like stop thinking about it because I want to capture most of the moments on stream, you know. And let me see here. But yeah, that was a good cat. I think somebody said that. I said that on the Instagrams. Yeah, he said that on the Insta. Okay, he said that on the Instagrams or the YouTubes, whatever. Oh, Black Hero. Yes, Shaman natives. Yes, exactly. We're all on the same page. Dun 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun. Shaman, natives. Joe, is that a movie? Before I write it down, just confirm. Let me see. What if the special ink is really sought after because of their supernatural capabilities, and so outlaws raid trains for them? Yes, it's kind of like the same way devil fruits are special and people want them and yada yada yada, and then there's special devil fruits, and maybe at some point you get angel fruits, whatever. But kind of like that for sure. And so yes, outlaws. I like that term because sometimes it's not just the things themselves. The terminology I think is also important. And outlaws, that's a good one. Again, just writing stuff. It might not even make sense yet. I might not use it, but I might. So special cowboy hats. Going back to that, I think off rip, you have some white hats and then some black hats. This is where the white hats and black hats come into play because I also don't want to pigeonhole every character to only have black hats and white hats. So maybe, other hats are just normal hats. You know what I'm saying? But if you see a white hat, and then maybe the hat might have a style to it or whatever, and then it's a powerful white hat or it's a powerful black hat. Um, I don't know. We'll figure it out. But I think maybe there might be some white hats and black hats that don't have powers or don't have any additional add-ons or whatever. But maybe. But we're just writing it down, and you can see how the world is kind of coming together a little bit. Coming together. I'm starting to visually see it, and this isn't even the world building stream, because again, I still have to do some research on, again, what it means to be a cowboy and da 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 and this and that and whatever, right? To really, really, truly make it rich, and it will also help me inform some of the characters and what their personality and their beliefs are going to be. Um, you can simply call the power source something like juice. Nah, I don't want to call it juice. You see, something like juice, there's no real connection to the cowboy world or anything like that. And so grit, I think grit is a better fit, and that's what I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with grit. And the cowboys can protect a group of people, someone, artifacts, talisman. Yeah, I think I put something there in like treasure, gold, silver, treasure, talisman, all that stuff can. Those are just like ideas for potential storylines, but that's not really what we're trying to get just yet. What's the overall message? The themes that the series is going to explore? That I will. Hold on. That I'll definitely figure out. Like the themes I want to explore as well. That's something worth exploring as well. And then that's how I'll, add some stuff like themes and principles, like the message behind the story that we're going to tell. Sometimes when you already have the moral of the story, the themes, the principles, it can help inform what the story is going to be and how it's going to be crafted. So themes, principles, I mean, it's the basic moral stuff. I'm not really thinking about it yet. So for instance, with Apple Black, there's a lot of like, religion, religious themes, and like forgiveness and what that means. And that's like really explored. There are other themes, but those two are what comes to mind the most off rip. Like, forgiveness versus revenge and stuff like that. And then with each arc and each character, sometimes some characters touch on themes that maybe the whole series doesn't necessarily touch on, but the character might focus and hone in on that theme a little bit more than anything else. So that happens. But the theme and principles, like where I'm going to go with it, I think potentially I might have a little bit of love in here. Like a love story done quite differently. Definitely a theme that I can see off rip just based off of the concepts that we've written down. It's like, what exactly is, good and evil and things like that, especially when you have like the white hats and the black hats and like basically the gray area of things. It's not necessarily that unique anymore. It's usually something that's explored a lot, but it's usually always interesting. That said, it can't be the only thing we do. So there'll be a little bit more that I add to it, and I think I'll come back to it once I start to craft the actual story. Because the way I work, I kind of like work in synergy with everything at once, and then when certain things start to happen, then I start to decide, okay, maybe this is what I want to talk about. This is what I want to explore. Yeah, it'll be clearer over time as we go on. Let me see what else. Yes, Wild Wild West is a good one. Dang, so no one can remember. No one can remember the other comic. not comic. Like there was a film that was a western. There was a good one that I could probably explore. Give me some ideas that before, like somebody mentioned it and I said Hateful Eight right after it because both movies are kind of similar. At least the trailers were. The one where what's the there's a western that Denzel is in. What was that? What's that movie? I could find it. In fact, what am I doing? I can literally just find it. Denzel Washington Western. I'm pretty sure that's it. The Magnificent Seven. You got the Hateful Eight, the Magnificent Seven. It's like, okay. Yes, this is what I was trying to remember. The Magnificent Seven. What else we got here? You just need to finish Apple Black and oversee your cowboy manga and let somebody else draw it. Maybe, but I think I wouldn't be doing this if I thought I couldn't do it and put it like that. You know what I mean? And put it like that. But especially it helps a lot. It helps a lot now with it helps a lot now with manga assistance, so that's always going to be cool. Bonnie and Clyde. It's probably a Western Bonnie and Clyde. John Dillinger. What's that? The one where what's the John Dillinger movie? Is it called John Dillinger with Johnny Depp? Public Enemies. I don't know if it's I don't know if it's cowboy. It's not really cowboy or western, but you know, there's some stuff about I forgot what they call that era about with like prohibition. Yeah. So maybe I might do some prohibition stuff. So play with alcohol. Maybe prohibition. Public Enemies. Someone said, what did they say? They said, The Quick and the Dead. Oh, and Bonnie and Clyde. The Quick and the Dead. So this will be my homework to kind of do research on these films, but also do research again. I really want to get different perspectives of what it means to be a cowboy, and then you know that could influence what, say, the main character, how the main character views the world of cowboy. Like, well, what is the main character's goal going to be, and why, and all that. Bonnie and Clyde. I don't know if it's a western, but you know, I'll just put it in there. Forbidden Areas. Don't know what that is. Call the power system Trigger. Trigger is not a bad term, but maybe something could be called Trigger. It's like it's one of those things where you know how characters have like their move sets, and sometimes they say certain things before they do certain moves. So Trigger to me could be something like somebody does with, say they have two pistols. So guns, definitely. You can't have no cowboys without no guns. Can't have no cowboys without no guns and no horses. Guns and horses. Need some guns and some horses and some Texasness. The Alamo? The Alamo? Maybe. So like Mexico? Yeah. Yeah, definitely Mexico because part of the concepts is all part of the Western, even in Westworld. But anyways, maybe as a character that does some really cool stuff with guns, and the thing that they say before they do one of their signature moves is something Trigger. Then we're in business. But maybe for the power system, the power source, I think I'm sticking with grit. Unless I come up with something else or something better, I am sticking with grit. Not grits, by the way. Those are disgusting. Those taste like garbage, basura, garbage, garbaggio. I don't care if you put cheese in it. I do not care if you put sugar in it. I definitely do not care if you put salt. It's all garbage. That and pineapple on pizza is not welcome here. But you know what? I will take pineapple on pizza 10 times before I ever eat grits again. Godly, it's disgusting. It's like eating puke. It's like eating the Matrix food. You know, and when Neo took the red pill and then that was grits. That was grits. So, Urban Legends. Is that a movie? Urban Legends, is that a movie? Is this gonna be published on Saturday AM or PM? I don't know. I don't know. Don't right now. I don't know. Obviously, if it is, it's very easy. I could just snap my finger, But for now, not sure yet. What is this? It's like. Okay. So let's remove this. Got that. Anyways. So the cowboy stuff. Well, I guess I remembered what I wanted to remember. I'll add to it later when the time goes, like all the influences and the yada yada yada. Like I'll add to that when the time comes. And so this is what we got. Like the themes and principles. Like I said, there will be some love, romance, themes, principles, maybe not genre, I guess genre, whatever. Obviously, it's going to be like an action, comedy, adventure, but I wanted to have some dark elements. Romance. I think some of the themes would be finding purpose in life, finding your purpose in life, and identity, and re-identifying or redefining pre-existing labels, let's just say. So maybe you have two characters that have a conflicting idea of what it means to be a cowboy, and that could play a role, and maybe both of them set out to the world to prove each other wrong while as allies or enemies or whatever. We could do a vagabond thing where you have like Sasaki Kojiro on one end and Musashi on the other end, but it can't get too crazy because again, this is just a one shot, a pilot, so we gotta have to keep things a little bit small scale, nothing too wild. Speaking of guns and horses, again, the horses, they can also have certain elements to them. Maybe certain horses are blah 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 blah. Shoot, what's stopping me from having a Pegasus in here? Nothing. You can really have fun. Imagine a gunslinger on a Pegasus. Now, again, I'm also aware I might not do everything here because I'm writing it down doesn't mean it's going to fit in one shot. So there probably will be stuff that gets cut, and I'll say the verse. I already said this with like the natives or the Africans brought here, especially if I'm going to touch on the slavery stuff and brothels and da 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 da, but just diverse in general, like just a diverse cast in general, and that might open me up to even exploring other themes that are less surface level. Okay, so now off of this, we've written a lot of stuff, right? And I'm just looking through what you got. Rango from DreamWorks. Is Rango a Western? Rango? That's the chameleon, right? That's the chameleon. Okay. Uh, maybe Rango. What's it called? Yeah. I mean, shootouts are a given. I don't know if I need to write that down. I'll write it down no matter what, whatever. But shootouts are a given. But if you have guns, you know. But see here. Again, just going through the comments one more time, and then we'll go through. We'll continue with the plan. And maybe this is all we do for tonight, right? Because it'll probably give in just with this. Now that I've begun, it's going to give more direction for what I want to research, and then maybe tomorrow on like for tomorrow's stream, we'll just start talking about what I found. Excuse me. We can talk about what I found, and then we'll kind of go from there, right? So that was YouTube. See what y'all talking over here on the Twitches. Okay, not much. And then Instagram. Do you plan your cast of characters from beginning to the end, or do you create them per arc? Sometimes I create them per arc, and sometimes I do both. Like sometimes there isn't one way of doing things. I just kind of do both. Whatever works in the moment. If it sounds great to me, I'm gonna do it. Sometimes I need to create a character for some things, and sometimes I try not to and try to use the characters I already have. It just gives the characters you have more stuff to do, but then you want to do it in a way that's true to them and still serves the story and their character and who they are. So it's just a combination of two, a combination of everything. You just find what works. There are some characters that I just visually have ideas for them, and it's just one of those where I just want them to exist, and I'm trying to find the best way to make them fit. But then there's times where it's literally the opposite, you know. So just kind of do. I kind of just do as long as the end result it works. How the sausage is made is really for you, and you decide how that happens. There isn't a fixed way of doing literally anything. Almost. Isn't steampunk overused with westerns? Yeah, a little bit. That's why I'm not too like if I touch steampunk stuff, I'm not gonna do it much. Cyberpunk, same thing. But especially for the one shot, I might not touch them at all. But if I do maybe like 2%, just to show the fantastical elements of this world, um, but not too much for sure. See what else we got. I do like grout ideas. Like, what is grout? Is an evolution from the characters always being exposed to harsh conditions, like adaptation of mutation. Not sure what you're talking about there, sir. Not quite clear. Not quite clear. Oh yeah. So another thing is like language. Not necessarily that they'll be speaking English, but there'll be like a drawl, if you know what I'm saying, like dialect and language. Let's do that. But yeah, we're getting there. We pretty much have almost all we need to really get rolling and doing more Gamer Boy or Game Boy. I don't know what that is. Okay. Now you skin their hats, their tats off so you can get the ink off them. Maybe. I'm not gonna write that down. Just I don't know if it'll be that easy. I don't know if I want to make it that easy to. Let's say we called them, working title. Let's say the people with the tattoos, we called them tattoo users or whatever. I'll probably come up with a name that works, but let's just say tattoo users. It can't just be to skin them alive. Maybe it could be. But it would definitely wouldn't be something that would be easy to do. Um, then on the TikToks, what we got? Wild West, ramen, moonshine. There's this horseback riding. Difference between an actual cowboy and a ranch hand. A ranch hand. Yeah, there's some people that they're not cowboys, but they ranches and farms and stuff like that. The farmer's daughter, kind of like in Westworld. Farms. That's something worth thinking about. Yeah, somebody says Rango from DreamWorks. There aren't any cowboy anime? I guess somebody said Trigun and Cowboy Bebop, but not quite. You know what I mean? Not quite what I'm thinking about. Gunsmith Cats? Am I tripping? Is that something? Gunsmith Cats? Worth exploring. Because sometimes I also want to see how if there are Western manga out there, I think it's helpful to see how those creators handled certain things, like the towns and the whatever. It would help me. I know it would help me. I could always just go with real life, but it's cool to see what other Japanese comics have done. Even regular comic, even like Western manga, Western comics, Western whatever you want to call it. Westerns, which I'm sure there are more. Somebody said Priest and something. So those are the first things we're doing. Now I think I have enough. I can always come back. The way this document is going to work is it's something that you come back to constantly. So I'm not really tripping right now. I'll definitely come back to it. It is what it is. We'll keep. In fact, I would. The things to look forward to here are going to be. Hold on. Eventually, I'll do something about. I'll have a section for the characters where I'll go into detail about them once I start to really put that together. And then I have a synopsis. Hold on. I'll have a synopsis, where I start to, at least by this point, I would have started to put the story together in a strong way. And then we'll get to script. And it'll go back and forth. Right? And once we do the characters, we'll also do a lot of drawings here on stream. Just drawing, having versions and iterations of the characters and figuring out what their look should be and all that cool stuff. So I would say even characters and world. How the world should look too. Okay. But right now, world building wise, especially when it comes to the mechanisms of how the fights I think are going to play out and the basic stuff about the world, I think we have enough meat to put on the skillet. You feel me? Enough meat to put on the skillet. And then once this first draft of the script is done, then we go start cooking the storyboards. And the way you guys have seen me do scripts and storyboards, those would kind of those kind of go back and forth and kind of influence each other as they develop. The characters and the world, those we're not just defining how they look, but who they are, what their goals are, and I think that's what would help me even put the synopsis together as well, because then I'll know. At that point, I'll really know what the story is or should be or yada yada yada, and then we can go ahead and write a script. And honestly, it's actually not just the storyboards that influence the script and back and forth. I think everything will do that. Everything we're gonna have to hop around the place a lot to see what works and what fits, and then we'll kind of build from there. Cool, you feel me? Y'all feel me? All right, so when I'm looking at my other document, right, the things that we did, things that we're doing, the whole thing about nothing is original and nothing is 0% original is basically like no idea is fresh. Like, no idea is 100% fresh. What you want to do as a creator is make sure that the ideas and concepts that you're coming up with have a high percentage of accuracy. Now, what that percentage is going to be would vary from person to person. It's kind of subjective, right? Some people think A might be more original than B, and then there'll be other people that think vice versa, right? What you want to do, though, is have something where, despite the influences and the ideas that help birth it, the general consensus is that whatever that percentage of originality you have is, it's something high. It's something in the 75 percentile or and above, right? The higher the better, especially if the story is stronger and more interesting and more engaging and immersive as a result. Some people, maybe they might try to do something that's different and unique for the sake of it, but it's not really interesting, and it might not even be interesting to them, and they're just lying to, or deceiving themselves or deluded. Sometimes you might have a grandiose idea and it's very different, but it just doesn't work because of a bunch of other reasons. So it's this nice dance that you have to walk or dance to make everything fit. It's kind of like when you watch, I'm sure you guys have seen stories where you can predict certain elements of the show or the film, but you still enjoyed it, right? Like, I remember, I don't know what movie it was, but no, I know exactly what movie it was. Actually, it was something by the Nile. It was like a who done it movie, and I can't remember. I know Gal Gadot, Armie Hammer. The Who else was in the movie? Russell Brand? I can't remember. But in that movie, there was something that happened towards like the halfway mark of the movie. Like, as soon as it happened, I just said, "That's the killer. It's them two, it's both of them." And by the end of the movie, I was right. Now, does that mean because I predicted it, it was the wrong thing to do? Or because I was familiar with it or I had seen something kind of like it before, does that mean it was the wrong choice? I still think it was the right choice, and the movie was good as a result, right? Even though I could predict it. So sometimes predictable is not wrong, but at the same time, you don't want to be. It's always, if you can subvert expectation and still be interesting, that's sweet. That's where you want to be. But you don't want to subvert expectation just to subvert expectation. Then you can might fall into some traps where you start to make some ridiculous ideas that make no sense, or you alienate your audience in some kind of capacity. There's a lot I could say about that, but hopefully the point has been gotten across and you guys know what I'm talking about here. Um, hold on here. So hopefully you guys know what I'm talking about, and I'm not speaking a foreign language. Okay, nothing is 100% original. To some degree, you saw what you're doing somewhere else, or you were influenced by something to put that together. And then nothing is 0% original either, because that's just impossible. Same way 100% is impossible, zero is impossible. But you want to be high. You always want to be high. Well, okay, I take that back. You don't always want to be high. Don't do drugs. Um, so, you guys, hold on. Give me a second. And we are back. Thank you. That was not long. But yeah, so I just wanted to get that across. Nothing is 100% original. Nothing is 0% original. And then in this phase, and I probably would do it. Like I said, I'll do some of it off stream. So like the next stream, we'll just kind of talk about what I will. I'll have a more direct approach of where I want to go with the story. Not the story itself, but at least like the concept of what it means to be a cowboy. I'll add that to the document actually. And I think this document, access to this document will be available. That would be cool. I think I will have this document available for, members on the channel, Patreon people. Like I wouldn't give them access to the document itself, but maybe I'll have document updates, and that's what I'll share on the members and Patreon, because I've been looking for more and more things to do to add to give add more value to the Patreonic folks. But yeah, when we go there, themes like what it means to be what's a cowboy. What does that? What is a cowboy? Who is a cowboy? Where is a cowboy? And also I'll probably have even more ideas of the themes and what I want to explore with those. And then yeah, I think we've done a lot of designing, and we're not necessarily designing the world, but we've explored some ideas and some concepts. So the main thing I want to do now is like the research. You can see some stuff here. Like usually, one quick place you guys can always search is Pinterest. Pinterest has some pretty cool images of what that be: the robes, the shoes, the pants. How would a young because the character, I think I'm gonna make the character young for obvious reasons, especially dealing with like shonen stuff, but not too young though, not too young, just like mid-teens, mid to higher teens. I think that's where I'm gonna go with that. But definitely teens, just higher teens where you're like mature teens. Yeah. And you guys already seen some really cool ideas here. It'd be cool, like a western. Like I could throw zombies in here if I wanted to throw zombies in here. Has there ever been like a western with zombies? That would be cool. I don't know if I'm going to throw zombies in here though, but maybe if this was like a full-on series, there might be an arc with zombies. Maybe. But you see some ideas here. I put cowboy manga just to see what will come up, and I think these are AI images, to be honest. A lot of these, like this right here, that's it. Yep, okay. Cowboy AI art western. But these are like AI images straight up. A lot of people sometimes they use AI images, not necessarily. Well, some people use it for concept art straight up, but some people use it like to build a mood board to then create the concept art. Each their own. See, you got some cool stuff here. Nicknames. Cowboys have nicknames. So again, that's also a very One Piece thing. So I think One Piece will probably be a good influence for this manga. Nicknames. Like I said, Billy the Kid, whatever, whoever. Because pirates have nicknames. So pirates and cowboys are not too far off. But here. So yeah, image wise, I'm not getting too much. You got some JJK. What, you got some JJK Cowboys? There's some really dope artists out there. I don't think this one is AI. I think this is somebody. This is a real person. Some really good artists out there in the world, and obviously you get some Cowboy Bebop. Bars is another thing you can throw in there. You know, yeah, obviously saloons and bars. But thinking of Westworld, what were the places? You got like dams and rivers and I already said trains. And obviously the woods and deserts. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. But yeah, the first part of this is mostly research. But then there's just some research that, you know, would require me to like maybe watch a video or watch a movie or something like that. And at least for this stream, we got some of the things to research. Now, I'm still not, it's not like I'm not going to watch all those movies. But I'll do some research on them. Because the goal here is to really understand that era. It's like, what is the... I also want to know, not necessarily just what it means to be a cowboy. I want to know how that era came to be. What's the history about it? Like, I want to be a little bit more well-versed in just cowboy knowledge in general. You know what I mean? So that's what I mean by research. And so the first video, this first stream, was basically about research and exploration. And, you know, all of that will still help form certain things. And obviously there was some stuff we just came up on our own, like the stuff with the power system and yada yada yada. We'll have a separate video that goes into more detail about that, but it's still good to be thinking about that right here. We didn't do anything and we didn't make any full-on decisions yet, because again, part of the process is also being open to change and kind of letting things happen naturally and be flexible as time goes on, because you're also going to come up with better ideas as we go on. But I think for the first stream, the goal, right, I think that's done. Y'all know what we're trying to do here. You can view it as just a manga hangout, manga run, manga school, manga one-shot creation, whatever, ultimate guide, how Whyt manga creates it, whatever. But the goal here is to also try to have a fun time. So I'm also open to suggestions that you guys might have for the streams moving forward. But I think that's it. That's all I'm going to touch on today. I'll do a little bit more research, and the goal, the way I want to do the schedule is to stream Monday to Thursday, same time-ish, right? And kind of build from there. That's it. That's it. So this last Q&A before we end the stream. We've gathered the information we want to gather for now. And I don't know character names. I don't know any of that. But, you know, it's part of the fun. We'll get there. Script. And I guess after that will be storyboard. Storyboards, Nemo, thumbnails, whatever you want to call them. Actually, names, whatever you want to call them. And then maybe synopsis, in between, I'll say some explanation of some, you know, how I would say the power system. I think power system and themes. Oh, and no, concepts. World building concepts, maybe. And world building concepts. Maybe that comes after synopsis, actually. Or it comes before synopsis. This is not necessarily one way of doing it. Again, even with the power system and the world building, we don't need to know absolutely everything. Even the audience doesn't need to know everything. They just need to know what they need to know to get your point across, to make the story work. That's the easiest way I can say it. But we'll be answering the last couple quick questions before we clock the stream. And the streams will be anywhere from like 2 to 3 hours. You know, nothing too crazy. And I'll try to get them sooner. And there'll be all the days simultaneously. Like I'm thinking every day, Monday to Thursday. So obviously, we'll stream tomorrow, and see how that goes. Let me see here. Let's turn this off. Yeah, these are some Apple Black pages. Again, guys, go check out Apple Black. That's a manga I already have out, published worldwide. Apple Black Volume 1 to 5. 5 dropped. I appreciate if you guys got 5. Shout out to everybody who got 5, but please go leave for all the volumes 1 to 4, 1 to 5. Leave reviews if you haven't already on Goodreads and Amazon. Let the world know you're part of the Apple Black community. Let the world know. Share your thoughts. I appreciate it, and let everybody know. Tell your friend, tell your mom, tell your kids, if you have kids. Tell your brother, anybody you think you know would like, shonen manga stuff. Let's cook. The goal here is to cook. We're laying down the groundwork, and we're gonna cook. That is what we're gonna do. If you missed the stream, obviously it'll be on YouTube. It'll be on YouTube. You'll be able to rewind. You can even rewind right now, and you always have access to that. So that would be cool. Again, this is also, I'm doing this for a host of reasons. To flex muscles outside of Apple Black, create video content. That's how most of you find me. I don't want to lose that. I want to keep building on that. I'm also building a team, kind of same way I have for comics. I want to do that for video. So I'm trying to build that for short form content, streams, and regular videos. So I'm still going to try and make regular videos, right? And maybe, I said Monday to Thursday every day, but we'll see. It might be Monday to Wednesday. So, it might be Monday to Wednesday. It'll be that run every Monday to Wednesday. I think let's start there before I do Thursday. Let's start there. Because that way, maybe I'll have room to shoot footage for regular videos. Or maybe the regular videos will just kind of be condensed, edited versions of the stream. I don't know just yet. I'm figuring it out, but the goal here is to come back and make content, video content, a lot more frequently and more consistently without burning out, killing a bunch of birds with one stone. A shout out to people following Dark Queen CC, Ghost Effects, Hitus Pod, everybody who's followed, appreciate it. But yeah, we want to keep cooking, right? So that's that on. So nobody got any questions on YouTube? Let's see, Twitch. Yeah, we're good. Instagrams, we are good. Kick, nobody was on Kick. I don't think because, well, to be fair, you guys didn't even know how to Kick. I just made it. We're here. We're on Kick. We kicked today. And then TikTok, shout out to y'all. Moonshine. Well, Moonshine Prohibition, it's kind of similar. Let me add that real quick. Prohibition, Moonshine. Let me see. I already wrote Prohibition. But yeah, Moonshine. Yeah. Then sounds. Will you post this on YouTube? We're live everywhere. We're live on YouTube. How far do you pace the overall story? The Xander Flicks, appreciate you. That's another person who's followed for a long time. I saw your comics, so congrats on the success on that as well. But how far out do you pace the overall story? Pace the overall story, like what do you mean exactly? What do you mean exactly? Like, if it's just regular pacing, I think it's something where I write the chapter. Well, let's go with Apple Black, right? I could show you guys Apple Black, the Google Doc for Apple Black, but that would spoil too much, too much. So I don't know if I could do that. But with Apple Black, I would, for the whole story, I have an idea of what happens, like a skeleton of everything that happens, and then hold on. I have an idea of everything that happens, right? And then it's broken down into arcs in a way, and the arcs are broken down into volumes. And for Apple Black, in my head, the whole thing, the whole story, including a time skip, everything, I could see it ending at like 23 volumes, and we're up to volume 5 now, right? And the first 4 volumes was the first arc, but every other arc after it is about 3 volumes, right? At best 3.5, but it's like 3 volumes. So I kind of have it broken down in that way. In fact, to be specific, I know the next arc is 3.5 volumes, but the arc after that is 2.5 volumes, right? Yeah, 2.5 volumes. So it's almost like a six. It's still, those 2 arcs were still like 6 volumes, and I have it constructed in that way. And I like to give it I like to go with the books. Our books are about a little over 200 pages per volume for a Saturday AM, and I like each book to almost be like an act. If the whole arc is Act One, Act Two, Act Three, and it's 3 volumes per arc, I kind of give each each book to one act, right? But then I also want each book to still feel not standalone-ish, because it obviously doesn't fully stand alone, but like there will be elements about it that stand alone. And so sometimes the way I'm constructing the story, like I want to make sure when you're done reading the book, you still feel satisfied, and it also ends in such a way where you definitely want to read the next book. In fact, I want to do that for every chapter. And some of these decisions, and thinking in that way to keep the reader immersed and engaged, it helps the decisions that I make regards to pacing, and how long I want to spend on a certain scene, or how long I want to spend on whatever on this fight scene, or how long this fight should be, or this and the third. So a lot of that kind of helps me decide, because it could be whatever you want, right? It could be, you have a lot of freedom. It's all art. There isn't one way to do anything. So it could be whatever you want, but doing this in this way, in this style, in my style, I guess, still influenced by the way Japanese manga does it, but in this way, it kind of gives me a little bit of direction, and that it helps me decide how long I spend on certain things. But then, because I'm thinking of everything in arcs, and before I even draw for like the next, I didn't always do this for the first arc, but for the second arc and the third and moving on, I'm writing the whole arc at once, and that way, I can really pace everything out, like take a step back before anything is drawn, and just read it, and try to visualize the feeling of it, and make sure things are not too. I'm not spending too much time on something that's boring, or nothing, or make sure nothing is boring. But at the same time, it could become boring if I spend too much time on it, or maybe still not even boring, because you never want to be boring. But it could be redundant, Okay, what to cut out, what not to cut out. Almost thinking of it like a movie too, where people don't shoot a movie, and sometimes you shoot a movie, and depending on how you cut the movie and you edit the movie, the pacing could be off. So stuff gets cut out, deleted scenes, yada yada yada. So from a writing standpoint, then I start to think of stuff that either could get cut out, or we don't need to have this discussion here. We can have this discussion in the next volume, and da 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 da. So being completely frank with you, there isn't an answer that I can give you. All I can do is tell you kind of how I do it, and hopefully that helps inform how you make your decisions, right? And I'm sure you'll be fine, Xander. You've done some stuff already on YouTube that tells me, at the very least, you have an eye for some of the stuff. So shout out to you, and thanks for the question. I don't even know if you're still in the stream, but appreciate the question. I appreciate everybody here on the TikToks. And yeah, I think that's it. I think that's it, guys. I think that's it. We rambled on for 3 hours plus, and we're ready to go home now. Will you make the document format available to the public? I will make the document format available to the public, but I will make elements of the document, especially as I keep on updating it. I'll make that available to members of the channel and patrons of the channel, I guess. So it's like Patreon and YouTube membership. Outside of that, the document won't be available to everybody. And then certain things that we create on the streams will also be available to just members and Patreon people. But then there'll be some things that I post to the public for sure. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to probably have a stream where maybe we design the logo, or I don't design the logo. I might even have I might get somebody else to help me do it, and then they'll be on the stream. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but we'll figure it out. Facinachi, sup, bro? Sup, brother? My was it Emmy nomination? Was it an Emmy nomination? But shout out to you, bro. Shout out to you. I don't know how long you were on the stream, but I appreciate your work as well. You know, we out here. We're out here doing big things. You know, so appreciate you showing up for the stream. But yeah, I'll stream tomorrow. Hey, thanks for the plug. Thanks for the super chat. Thanks for the super chat. The first super chat of this this stream series that we're cooking. Let me. Yeah. Yep. The first super chat of this stream series that we're cooking. I really appreciate it. But we will continue to cook. Oh yes, it's an Emmy. I don't know if it's happened already. I don't know if you won. If you won, congrats. But y'all should check him out as well. He on Instagram does a lot of storyboard work and does a lot of stuff in the industry. Highly, highly talented, especially with animation stuff that I could go learn, but it's like it'll take me way, like I'll have to relearn a lot of stuff, and he does it so effortlessly. So he's pretty good. So go check him out. But yeah, that's all I got for the stream, guys. That's all we were able to cook today. And for the next stream, again, like I said, go check out the books in the meantime. Apple Black Volume 1 to 5. You know, if you're not sure, check out the reviews, Goodreads, Amazon. Check out more Saturday AM series as well. I showed you guys Gun Hill, there's Clock Striker, everything you could possibly think of. And links you could possibly need, especially if you're on the YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, in the description, you find links. But anywhere in my profiles, you find links to anything. So thank you guys for showing up. Texas approved ideas for sure. Texan approved boss ideas for sure. And we will continue to cook. Tomorrow, the stream, it will be about building like the lore, any lore and prophecy and yada yada yada, and exploring the characters. So I guess tomorrow is where we start to play around with ideas for characters, right? You know, characters and their goals and what they might do and yada yada yada, and the designs of how the world is gonna look and some of the people are gonna look, the sheriffs, da 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 da. So there'll be a lot more drawing tomorrow. That's all I can say. But in the meantime, I thank you guys for showing up for the stream. It's been a blast. I'm excited to see where this goes. Hopefully you guys stick around and watch and are engaged. But that's all I got. Drawing by James. You're buying a book. Shout out to you. I appreciate it. You guys, don't forget to like the video. Please like the video. Wherever you're watching this, like it. If it's TikTok, like it. YouTube, like it. You know, subscribe to the channel. Subscribe everywhere. I know I'm streaming, multi-streaming pretty much everywhere. But don't forget to like, share. And for all the creators who are trying to learn manga and you want to kind of get in on the fun and be in the kitchen as we cook, tell your friends to show up to the streams and let's cook. Know what I mean? The VODs will always be available, so you can always rewatch things. But That's all I got, guys. It's Whyt Manga. And I'm outie. 9